Hello, hello. FPL Raptor here. Welcome back to another live stream, bright and early on a Saturday morning. Do say hello in the chat. Let me know that you're here. Also, let me know that you can hear me and see me okay. I think, fingers crossed, I probably shouldn't say this, but I think we've sorted the internet issues recently. So fingers crossed, stream should be running pretty smoothly for the foreseeable future. Like I said, let me know that you're in the chat. Already see so many people in the chat, lots of members, lots of regular viewers of the channel, lots of people that are always in the live stream chat. So I do appreciate that. We have had a super chat already. I'll quickly get through the super chat and then I'll just say hello to everyone else that has just joined. So from True Fandela, thank you very much for the super chat. -12, version 1. Dubravka, Rafinha, captain, and Rudiger. / goalkeeper Dubravka. Or version 2, okay. Sar, Rafinha, and Mount. Goalkeeper Sar. Or version 3, Saiss, Rafinha, and Mount. Goalkeeper Ramsdale. Oh, great question. I mean, it depends on your chip strategy, True Fandela. I do think I quite like the Sar, Rafinha, and Mount, although you do want a Chelsea defender. Probably just about version 1, but I kind of like version 2 as well. I would probably say just about version 1, maybe version 2, and then version 3 last. So probably in order of the way you've listed them. Hopefully that helps answer your question. So we got Anesh in the chat. Good morning, mate. Cheeks to 77. Good morning. Large, good morning. Clive, good evening, Raptor, and all the way from New Zealand. Yes, pretty late for you, is it? Or actually, I think you said the morning streams actually work quite well for you, so hopefully this is all right. Hopefully it's not too late. Steve Seven in the chat. Good morning, mate. Glad you got your membership sorted. Pocket in the chat. Good morning. Johan, look at all these members. Love to see it. James, Ronnie, Chris Irvine. Good morning, Chris. Dave in the chat. Good morning, Dave. Good to see you, mate. Robert Rank in the chat. Love to see it. Good morning. What an epic week of football ahead. Should be a good one. I'm actually really excited. I said over on Twitter, we will discuss it today. I'm starting to enjoy FPL a lot more and I'm just having fun with it. That doesn't mean making stupid decisions or suboptimal decisions. It just means sometimes trusting your gut feeling. And if you want to make a decision because it increases your enjoyment of the game, just do it. And I've started to do that a little bit more recently and it's really helping me. And it hasn't affected my rank negatively. So I'm going to keep doing that. And as you'll see in a second, I have taken a reasonable hit this game week and I'm just enjoying FPL. Hey Ross, what are your top 3 captaincy picks? I would probably say Rudiger, Rafinha, and Coutinho would probably be my top 3. I don't mind Salah though. If you're going to go for a single game week player, of course you probably go for Salah, and I don't mind that as an option. Nana Raptor has indeed captained Mo Salah, so take of that what you will. She's a better manager than I am. FPL Penguin in the chat. Good morning, mate. I will get through to answering actual FPL questions in a second. Just say good morning to a few people, then we'll move on. I'll show you what my team looks like, and then we'll answer some questions in the chat. Good evening from Malaysia. Love to see it. Good evening. Wonder why Rudiger didn't rise in price. Yeah, very strange. Not sure. I haven't actually looked at the price changes, so I assumed he would. He was at like 130, 140% progress, so I'm not sure there. Hello, Thomas. Hello, Nicola. Morning, Robbie. Liam. God, there are so many members in the chat. It's the best. Clive looking great, Ross. Thank you very much. Morning, Legend Raptor. Good morning, good morning. Love from Malaysia. A few Malaysians in the chat. Nice to see it. Love from India. Big love to India. As I've always said, India, one of my favorite places. So many of the viewers and the people in the FPL community on Twitter are from India as well. Ross, did you take the hits? Yeah, I have confirmed the hits. I'd rather just do the hits before the deadline stream rather than stressing about it on the stream, just because it's about you guys, the stream. The stream isn't really about me. It's more about answering your questions. And if I'm sat here sort of typing away and trying to think about transfers, it's probably not a good idea. So I've already confirmed my transfers, yeah. Morning, James. Minutes are worry. You'll see in a minute. I'm not too worried, but yeah, he's obviously unlikely to get as many minutes as Rudiger, but that's part of it. Right, so class is 10 p.m. in New Zealand. Perfect, so it's not too late then. Right, I'm going to get on to sort of the stream then today. There are far too many people to say good morning to. Thank you so much for being in this stream. If you're in the stream today, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. It's going to be an epic one. Should be going for about 2 hours. Hopefully we'll go right up till the deadline, which would be really, really cool. Before we do jump in today, just a quick shout out to Spitch. You guys know that the live streams are sponsored by Spitch, which I massively appreciate. Just a quick one. What Spitch essentially is, it's an application and you can use it on sort of web, on your laptop and computer as well. It's basically fantasy football, but rather than creating a team across the season, you basically create a team for a single game week. So each week you create a different team. And so it's essentially like you get a free hit every week. What I like about Spitch is, number one, that you create a different team each week, so you don't have to stick and hold on to a team throughout the season and hold on to dead wood. And the second thing I like is the scoring system is much better. So rather than it just being things such as goals and assists, it's things such as tackles, interceptions, key passes, everything is rewarded. So someone like a Ward-Prowse is an even better option in Spitch than he is in sort of FPL. So if you are in the UK or Germany, I think they're the only two countries at the moment, but by all means, try it in different countries. So if you're in the UK or Germany, try and download this. The link is in the description. Because it does have the option to do paid competitions, it is 18 plus, so please be gamble aware, but I don't enter the paid competitions. So if you don't want to enter the paid competitions or you just want to try out the free ones, do that. It's still a lot of fun. And I know they're introducing more prizes as well as sort of the season goes on, and they introduce more leagues as well. And like I said, the other thing is, as well as the Premier League, there's Bundesliga as well. So if you want to get involved with some slightly different competitions, you can do that too. So massive shout out to Spitch. Thank you for sponsoring the channel. If you would like to try it, or you just like to support the channel, even if you're not going to try it, you can click the link in the description down below. That would massively help support me. Thank you to Spitch. Now, let's move on to my team. So before I answer your questions in the chat, and that is the main purpose of today's live stream, I have confirmed another hit. It is a -8. Bear with me, though. Hopefully, my -20 a couple of weeks ago did confirm that I know roughly what I'm doing with these hits, and I'm not just being completely reckless, because that paid off quite well. I've had a few sort of back-to-back green arrows now. My -8 hit that I've confirmed is Cancelo, Gray, and Foden out, and I've brought in James, Rafinha, and Coutinho. All right, so that is the -8. Of course, Coutinho and Rafinha are two good moves because they double this week. They've got a decent fixture in 29, and they play in blank game week 30. So by bringing in Coutinho and Rafinha for Gray, assuming Gray doesn't play one of the doubles in 29, I'm getting 2 extra fixtures from each of them in 3 game weeks. So for that -8, I'm getting 4 extra fixtures. So just from appearance points for James and for Rafinha and Coutinho, I'm getting 8 appearance points. So that would make up the -8. Plus, I'm bringing in James for Cancelo, which gets me an extra fixture this week. So just through appearance points, I should be getting an extra 10 points on top of the players that I've taken out. So that should pay back the hit. And I just think that Rafinha, for me, this is a pure gut feeling call. I've just got a feeling that Rafinha will be a good captaincy option this week. It's just like I said, people are asking on Twitter, how do you decide who to captain this week? I don't think there's much use in looking at the statistics this week. It's very tricky in a double game week to try and predict them, unless there's like a standout option in someone like for example, Salah in game week 26. I think you've just got to go for your gut feeling. And for me, my gut feeling is telling me that Rafinha, under Jesse Marsch, new manager bounce, might do fairly well. Leicester still looks slightly leaky at the back. Aston Villa still are about sort of 13th, 14th for expected goals conceded. So I think Rafinha's a good captaincy option. I also think Coutinho's good for game week 30. I think he's fantastic for this week, and it's a bit of a gut feeling call again. I think he'll do fairly well in one of those 2 games. I could quite easily see sort of like a 10 or 11 pointer and then maybe like a 5 pointer, and I want to be on board for that. And like I said, I get him in game week 30. And then finally, just because I know a lot of people are going to ask about it, why I chose James over Rudiger is just the way I sort of play FPL. So I do think Rudiger's the sensible option. If you ask me who should I transfer in, I'll probably recommend Rudiger. That makes most sense to me. If you want to sort of confirm that you're going to get clean sheets, confirm that you're going to get playing time. But I owned James earlier in the season when he got that back-to-back 13-pointer and 21-pointer. James, on his day, could quite easily outscore. So if James only plays the Burnley game, if he gets a haul, he could easily outscore 2 clean sheets from Rudiger. And that's not to say Rudiger's a bad option. And I do personally think that Rudiger's good. And if I were on a wildcard, I'd definitely have both Rudiger and James. And even Thiago Silva's a great option as well. But for me, James is worth the risk. So I've already made these transfers. I have brought in James, Rafinha, and Coutinho. I'm captaining Rafinha, 100% confirmed. My vice captaincy's on James. So I will answer your questions around Coutinho, on Rudiger versus James, apologies, or Thiago Silva. I'll answer all of your questions on those players. But my risk tolerance suggests that James is a good option. So let me know in the chat. Are you on Rudiger, Thiago Silva, James, or are you potentially on a double up? For those of you on your wild card, you're probably doubling up on Chelsea, assuming that you can cover game week 30. So I'll get to answering your questions in the chat now, but that's basically my -8 that I've taken. That's what I'm feeling for this upcoming week. Unless we get early team news that Rafinha isn't starting, which would be a bit of a shame because we just brought him in, I'll be captaining Rafinha, and I've got my vice on James at the moment. So let me know what you think of that -8 in the chat. Like I said, just through appearance points in the next 3 game weeks, I'm getting an extra 10 appearance points. So that should make up the -8 hit. I did see that there was a super chat. Let me just scroll back up to the super chat. So super chat from Gunner93 says, "Hi Ross, who would you bench, Trent versus Saka?" I'd bench Saka. I wouldn't bench Trent. I wouldn't bench Saka particularly either, but I think you could probably get away with. Trent's too good, really, isn't he? I would bench Saka personally, but by all means, the chat, you help him out for that one. I would never bench Trent unless it was for like a really good double game week player. But considering Saka's only got a single game week fixture, I think you're fine. We've got 660 people watching. That's quite a lot. I think the stream highest, I think the highest we've had in the stream is about 800. So if you're in the stream, drop the stream a like. Make sure you subscribe as well. I'm sure there will be some new people watching here today. Lots of content on a weekly basis, team selection videos, game week preview videos, etc. And always do a stream as well. So if you're in the stream, do drop a like on it. Right, drop your questions in the chat then. Would you go for Willock or Fraser? I've gone for Fraser. Yeah, so I said this on Twitter. I think Fraser is best if you're looking for just a return of some kind. Fraser's underlying data is slightly better, but Willock has better expected goals. If you're not into your statistics, what that essentially boils down to is Willock is the greater goal threat. Willock's more likely to score, but I think Fraser's more likely to get you something because his creativity is quite high. So I think with Fraser, you're likely to get sort of 5-6, 5-6, 5-2, 1, 5-6, those sort of. With Willock, I think you're likely, that was with Fraser, sorry. With Willock, you're likely to get 11, 1, 1, 2, 11, right? So it depends what you're looking for. I think in a double game week, I quite fancy Willock, but I think across a longer period, I think Fraser will tick along quite nicely. So it's completely up to you, really. Whatever you're feeling for your risk tolerance and whatever you want with respect to, do you want just a greater chance for return or do you want a greater chance for goal? Pocket says 4 double game weeks only, single game weeks in 11. Cancelo, Tierney, Trent, Salah, Son, Martinelli, Kane. Don't really want to sell anyone. That's absolutely fine. I don't think. This is the thing. We've realised recently with captaining Veghorst, captaining King, captaining Dennis, double game weeks aren't necessarily better than single game weeks. And when your single game weeks are Cancelo, Tierney, Trent, Salah, Son, Martinelli, and Kane, there's no issue with those single game week players. So yeah, that's absolutely fine. Thinking Cancelo to Rudiger, but not excited about losing Cancelo for a -4. So I've obviously sold Cancelo for a -4. I think it's worth it. But again, for those people that don't want to sell Cancelo, I don't mind that at all. Thoughts on Van Dijk to James for a -4? I don't mind that, but Van Dijk's got a double next week. So are you going to bring Van Dijk in or are you just going to play James against Newcastle? The issue is if James plays both Burnley and Norwich this week, he's unlikely to play Newcastle next week. I don't think he's going to play like 3 games in a row. So it's just up to you. That's why I chose to take out Cancelo rather than Van Dijk because I wanted the double for Van Dijk next week. Robertson out for a Wolves defender? No. Personally not, unless you're going to bring Robertson back next week because you've got the same issue. If you bring in a Wolves defender this week, yes, you get the double for this week, but next week Wolves have Everton and then Liverpool have the double. So I'd probably say no there. Martinelli or Fraser? Probably Martinelli. Thoughts on Reece James captain? I love Reece James captain. If you've got the, I don't know. I don't want to, obviously bringing him in, I think he could potentially start both and I think he's going to do well. I just worry that he has just come back from injury. And for me, it might be a step too far to captain James. But I love it. I'm not going to put you off of that. If you want to do it, you can see my advice is on him. So if Rafinha does for some reason miss out both, I'd have James. I definitely think James is a good option. I'm just not quite sure I'm there for it. But as Michael just said, love the aggressive play, Ross. I'm playing quite aggressively in a James captaincy. If he does start both, you could be looking at a monster haul. Burnley and Norwich is massive. And I'm pretty sure when he got the 21 pointer and the 13 pointer early on in the season, James, I'm almost certain that was Norwich and Newcastle back to back. Burnley and Norwich aren't too dissimilar. And then he plays Newcastle in game week 29. So if you're fancying James for a captaincy, he could go massive. FPL Penguin says YOLOing Rush James in. Join the James in gang. Listen, if Rudiger scores randomly, we can't predict that. And if Rudiger does outscore James, at least we went for it, you know? I don't think there's much of an issue. Don't know if I have the minerals to captain him, but I really want to. Hope you're well, Ross. I'm all good, thank you, Abdullah. Yeah, I don't think I have the minerals quite to captain him. Rahul says Rafinha all blankets Leeds. We don't know what Leeds play like under anyone other than Bielsa in the Premier League. So saying it's Leeds is highly irrelevant, really, isn't it? Who knows? Yeah, he could blank. Elise to Rafinha, Edouard to Adams for a -8. They both look like fantastic transfers, yeah. Sorry, the chat's moving really quickly, so I'm never going to get around to answering everyone's questions. I do apologise. Hey, Ross, Jimenez versus Hwang and Broja versus Adams. If you're asking me who I prefer there, I prefer Jimenez to Hwang, but he's obviously a massive upgrade, and I prefer Adams to Broja. But again, that is a massive upgrade, so it's up to you. We're on 816 concurrent viewers. If Andy doesn't start streaming anytime soon, we might hit thousands. Thank you very much for being in the chat, though. I do appreciate it. If you're watching this for the first time today, I appreciate you being here. We've got a super chat. Is it too risky captaining Lukaku, or is he a good punt? See, I don't think I would captain him, not because I don't think he's going to start both. I think there's a reasonable chance he does. But if I had to guess, I would say he starts one. He's just, even if he does start, he doesn't look that good. So for me, I would still rather, I'd still bring him in. I still think he's a good option to bring in. I'd rather captain Havertz or Mount. I think Havertz looks great. Havertz can play out on the left or out on the right if Lukaku starts one or both up top. And I think Mount is likely to probably start one and then get at least sort of 30, 40 minutes in the other. So I don't mind it, but I'm not a massive fan of the captain Lukaku personally. Chris Irvine, become a member. I think you're a member recently, Chris, but I massively appreciate that. So if you do want to become a member, you can click the join button next to the subscribe button. If you become a Rap Tier 1 member, you can DM me your team whenever you want and get personalized feedback. So for those of you that are always trying to get feedback on your teams, if you become a Rap Tier 1 member, you get put into our private channel where we have a sort of private chat where we all talk about our teams. You can DM me. I'll follow you on Twitter, that sort of stuff. So thank you very much for becoming a member, Chris. Is Davinson Sanchez a risk to Davies' position, or is Davies nailed on? Good question. I think Davies and Dyer will remain fairly nailed on. Sanchez will obviously need to get some game time, but it's pretty difficult to predict who. It probably would be for Davies or potentially Romero, but I can't see Romero missing out. It's really tricky to try and predict that back three for Spurs. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. That's sort of why I'm avoiding Tottenham for now as well. I just don't know who's going to start in that back three. Thoughts on Vardy? I love Vardy. Vardy is starting according to Samuel Martin on Twitter. So if you follow Sam, absolute legend. He gets early Leicester team news. So unless something's changed, Vardy is starting against Leeds today. You also then get, obviously, an okay fixture in 29. You then get him against Brentford in 30. And is almost definitely Leicester. Almost definitely they're going to have a double game week 33. So I really like Vardy as an option. I just think when there's double game week players, I'd maybe prefer those. And when it's basically Vardy or Kane, I think I'd still maybe lean towards Vardy. So Clive has used his member highlight. So if you are a member, by the way, you get your message highlighted. I think it's once a month. And again, he's used his message to say, come on, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Ross is a legend. I appreciate that, Clive. Love the Rap Tier members. Darshil says, please play King, Ross. Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to ask you guys in the chat. I did ask this on Twitter, and it was overwhelmingly in favour of not starting King. I haven't fully decided on this yet. So who should I start? Let me know. I'm just going to put a poll in the chat, guys. Let me know. Should I start King, Lacazette, or Van Dijk? I'm pretty sure it will be King or Lacazette, but I'll put Van Dijk in there as an option. Do you know, I'll even put Bowen in. I don't think I'm going to start Bowen because I just don't fancy him to score too many points here. But King, Lacazette, Van Dijk, Bowen. This is who should I start. I've just slapped a poll in the chat. So yeah, we'll see. Start King just for the vibes. Hi Ross, hope you're well. Thoughts on this -8? Cancelo and Mopé to James or Rudiger and Adams? To me, that looks fantastic, mate. And you can see I've taken a -8. I think it's worth it. With, obviously, Rudiger and Adams, the only issue is, or James and Rudiger and Adams, the only issue is you don't get any extra fixtures for game week 30. So just consider, are you planning on playing a free hit in 30? If not, you might want to prioritise some other players that actually play in blank game week 30. King should be third bench spot. Yeah, a lot of people said that, to be fair. Are you bench boosting? No, I don't think my bench is strong enough. I don't expect a clean sheet for De Gea. I don't think Bowen's going to do much. And if Bowen does do something, it means Van Dijk blanks and then King is just King. Even if Lacazette comes onto the bench. I just don't think that bench is quite strong enough. And if we just skip to... I don't think I've actually got it yet. My chip strategy is essentially... Let me try and get it up here. 2 seconds. My chip strategy is essentially... gonna be, have I got it here? There we go. That should work now. Let me see if that works. So my chip strategy should be coming up on screen now. It's basically to use free transfers up to game week 33, free hit in 33, wildcard in 34, and then bench boost in 36. So because I'm saving that wild card for game week 34, which in my opinion is still definitely the optimal strategy, and having looked at the way the fixtures might run, if you watch James from Planet FPL, his podcast this week, this looks like probably the optimal strategy over the remainder of the season. I think a lot of people are coming around on this. If you watched Andy, Let's Talk FPL's recent video, he's also coming around on this as well. It looks like a really fantastic strategy. Free hit 33, wildcard 34, bench boost 36. As a result, I don't think a bench boost this week for me is the optimal play. So I think I'm going to bench boost in 36. As you can see, I can bench boost a sort of 14, 15 double game week players. Good morning, Ross. Good morning, Ahmed. Nice to see you, mate. After bringing Rudiger in, James FOMO is high. Yeah, but you can't own everyone, can you? And I still think that Rudiger's a fantastic option. At least with Rudiger, you're covering the clean sheets. Yes, you might miss the goal and bonus points with James, but you're only going to miss out on maybe 6 to 8 points that way. I wouldn't have too much FOMO about James personally. Do you think it's mad to have 3 Spurs players in your wildcard? No. I would definitely have Kulusevski and Kane in my wildcard. I'd have those 2. If you wanted to go for Son or you wanted to go for a defender as well, maybe a Lloris, I don't mind that. I don't think that's mad at all. 951 people in the chat. Hopefully, if we hit 1,000, that'd be super cool. Never hit 1,000 concurrent viewers. If you are in the chat, make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're doing big things over here on the channel, and I can't wait to see it grow over the future. So if you're in the chat, make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe. Good morning, Joseph. Still got all my chips. What to do with triple captaincy? Yeah, so I've been having to think about this. I think James from Planet FPL again agrees. If you've got your triple captaincy, I do still think the best opportunity is probably Salah in... Probably game week 29 for Salah. He might also have a double game week in 26, but that double game week doesn't look like it will be quite as good. So for me, I think if you're going to triple captain, I'd probably do it on Salah in 29, unless you're bench boosting, in which case maybe you just save it for game week 36 or game week 37. Yeah, what's the poll saying then for who to start? So the poll still think I should start Lacazette, so you think I should keep it as is. So I'll keep it as is for now then. I am still slightly tempted to put King in, just because at least you're likely to probably get 4 points as a minimum. Obviously, if he gets a yellow card or he misses out before if he comes off before the 60th minute in one of them, then maybe. But yeah, just realised I did miss a super chat. Sorry, from Omkar. So he said Bowen and Weghorst to Rafinha and Hwang for a -4 and bench boost. Yeah, I really like Rafinha and Hwang. The only issue is with Bowen, you're losing a fixture in game week 30. I know you're gaining 2 as well, but you are losing that fixture in 30. I don't know what your bench looks like to decide if that's a good bench boost or not. But what I would say is I do like both of those options personally. So, yeah. Ross, do you reckon benching Ramsey for Trent is viable? I wouldn't bench either of those. If there's another way you can get both of those in, I'd probably do that. Lacazette versus Saka, who to bring in? I prefer Saka myself, although Lacazette's on penalty, so that might draw you towards Lacazette. Hwang or Rodrigo, I need a forward below 6.4 million. I don't massively like either of those, but I'd probably just about lean towards Hwang, because Rodrigo might not even start. If they start one up front, it could be Gelhardt, it could be Roberts, it could still be James. Yeah, we have got 1,000 in the chat. Love to see that. So 1,000 watching live. That is a milestone for me. I know for some people, Andy gets like 15,000 viewers at least per live stream, but 1,000 is massive for me. So I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Bench boost, Gabriel, Saka, Sanchez, and Tony. Yeah, that looks good to me, to be fair. Again, if you're wildcarding late, I wouldn't bench boost now because you'll be able to set up for a really nice bench boost in 36. But if you're wildcarding, if you've already wildcarded, a bench boost this week makes a lot of sense. Captain Mason Mount, I don't mind that at all. I think all of the Chelsea players are decent captaincy options. Are Saints not a strong captaincy option? Adams, Broja, Ward-Prowse. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I think out of those, I'd probably just about lean towards Adams. He's in really, really good form at the moment. His underlying statistics are better than both Broja and Ward-Prowse. But I suppose with Ward-Prowse, you get penalties, you get corners, you get free kicks, you get long shots. You get a lot of different potential routes to points with Ward-Prowse. There's another super chat. Sorry, I almost missed that. Neil, start Van Dijk or Tierney, Salah, Rafinha or Adams for captaincy. So I would probably just about lean towards starting Tierney. I think the clean sheet's more likely for Arsenal, especially with the fact that Sarr is injured. And then with Salah, Rafinha or Adams for captaincy, obviously I'm captaining Rafinha, so I'm going to say that you should captain Rafinha. I think I would prefer Salah to Adams personally. I don't know why I'm even... To be like I said, the statistics aren't even better for Rafinha in comparison to Adams. It's just a purely gut fit. I've just got a really good feeling about Rafinha. That could easily backfire. He could get 4 points, could get 3 points, but sometimes you've got to trust your gut feeling in FPL, haven't you? Is Wood a good option, or should I just go for Willock? I'd probably just go for Willock myself. I don't think Wood's the best option. But again, Wood is likely to be on penalties. So just a little bit of a nugget of information for those of you that are thinking about Wood. I think it was in the Cup. It might have been in the Premier League. Newcastle had a penalty that was given, but then it was checked for VAR and then ruled out. But whilst VAR were checking for the penalty, Chris Wood had the ball in his hand. Now, it could quite easily be Richie when he's on the pitch, but Chris Wood did have the ball. He obviously hasn't scored for Newcastle yet. So I still think there's a relatively high chance that Wood is still on penalties. So that might make you lean towards Chris Wood, potentially. Gabe says, hey, Ross, hope you're well, mate. Already brought in Broyo. Should I also bring in Coutinho and James for Cancelo and Great for a -8? I'm, of course, going to say I think that's a good option. You can see I've done a -8 for Cancelo, Gray, and Foden out, James, Rafinha, and Coutinho in. So I think that -8 makes a lot of sense. I know why big YouTubers only answer super chats now. This is a ridiculously quick moving chat. Start 2 of Robertson, Broya, and Ramsey. I would start... Oh, that's really tough. I'd probably start Broya and Ramsey and bench Robbo, but I don't like the idea of benching Robbo particularly. Should I double up on Robertson and Trent? I have the budget. Yeah, I think that's a good option. You get great fixtures for 29 and then also great fixture in 31 against Watford. I don't mind that at all. I would probably double up on Chelsea defenders personally, but I think either or is fine. Would you start Jimenez or Trent? I'd still start Jimenez. I'd still back him. He's on penalties. 2 good fixtures. Yeah. Neil says, some hits flying around today. Think I'll join the party. I like that a lot. Love your content, Raptor. Different to Andy, Oscar, and Dan, who I watch a lot too. Andy, Oscar, and Dan are 3 of the best in the business. Absolutely. Andy is my favourite YouTuber, has been for about 4 years. I've watched Andy for a while. Oscar, met Oscar the other day. Absolute legend. Love Oscar to bits. His content is so slick, so smooth. And Dan is just super entertaining as well. And that's FPL, mate, by the way. You don't get more entertaining than Dan. So upbeat, so energetic. Graphics are absolutely class as well. So all 3 of those, I agree, are fantastic. But thank you for the compliment. Emerson Royale or Laporte? Emerson Royale definitely isn't nailed, so I'd probably go for Laporte. Emerson Royale has a lot of sort of rotation with Doherty, and Doherty's been playing recently quite well, so... Ramsdale, Tierney, Saka, Weghorst. Can I bench boost that? Yeah, there's a lot of questions about bench boost. Ramsdale, Tierney, Saka, Weghorst. I don't like Weghorst, but the other 3 are fine. I'd probably save it, maybe, for game week 36. Start Saka, Robertson... Start Saka or Robertson, tempted to go Mount Captain. So Saka versus Robertson, I'd probably just about lean towards Robertson, but I think Saka's a good option. And I really like Mount Captain. So yeah, by all means go for Mount Captain. Thank you for all of those that are being very kind about the 1,000 viewers. That is pretty big for me. So I appreciate that. Double up on Chelsea or double up on Wolves, keeping game week 30 in mind. Depends how many other players you have in your midfield and attack for game week 30, but I would probably double up on Chelsea. The upside is so massive, but as you can see, in my team, I'm currently doubled up on Wolves, but that's just from the moves that I made in game week 26. Let's have a look at this poll again. So yeah, still 42% on Saka. So I think most people are saying I should go for Saka this week, which is fine. Right, I'll end that poll then. Bench Son or Kane? Ooh, neither, Clive. Try and bench someone else. Oh, you've retracted. I think that was a different question. That's absolutely fine. McAllister or Bowen, please? Bowen. Best keeper for game week 29 and game week 30, is it Ramsdale? Yeah, it's got to be Ramsdale, hasn't it? You get double in 29, you get a decent fixture in 30. I don't mind Lloris is a decent option outside of that. You get the double in 29, you get a good fixture in 30, and you also get a good fixture in 31, 32. Is there any early team news? I haven't seen anything yet. Ooh, apologies. I'll jump on Twitter probably around, I don't know, I'll jump on Twitter around sort of 20 minutes before the deadline and we'll see if we get any early team news. Right, Clive's question was bench Son or Saka? I have Kane. I'd bench Saka. I think you've got... If Son's on your bench though, Clive, have you got your bench boost still in play? It depends who your other players are on it. Ward-Prowse or Broya? Probably just about Broya. Bring in Mount or Coutinho. I've brought in Coutinho, but that's just because he plays in blank game week 30. Depends what your strategy is for blank game week 30. Sice or Cody. If you've got the money, I prefer Sice. Why are you not opting for Mount over Coutinho? Coutinho's minutes are slightly more nailed. At least he'll start both, you'd expect. Also plays in blank game week 30. We just had a new member join. I really appreciate that. Dr. Ilham. Dr. Ilham, let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly in the chat. Appreciate you joining. If you are a doctor, that's super cool. I'm obviously doing my doctorate at the moment as well. So massively appreciate you becoming a member. If you would like to become a member, you can just click the join button next to the subscribe button or just click the link in the description. Captain Coutinho or Jimenez? I would captain Coutinho. Sice or Kilman, if you could get just one. I'd go Sice if you have the money. Tierney or King, which one to bench? I would bench just about Tierney, maybe. I mean, I'm playing Lacazette and Saka ahead of King at the moment, so maybe I'd end up benching King, potentially. Is a minus 16 to navigate to a decent team for Game Week 30 worth it? Would you rather free hit in 30 and get a much better team Game Week 30 and 29? Having 2 free hits left, 1 wildcard and no bench boost, so saving 1 free hit for 36 essential. Yeah, in your position, then I'd probably save 1 free hit for 33, 1 free hit for 36. And I'd probably try and navigate 30 with just transfers then. Thoughts on Vardy on a wild card? I don't mind Vardy. I think I'd prefer Kane. But like I said, with Vardy, you get a good fixture. You get a decent fixture this week against Leeds. You get a decent fixture in 29. Good fixture in Game Week 30. And then you also get good, probably a confirmed double in Game Week 33. So. Sorry, my stomach is rumbling. I'm doing intermittent fasting, so I haven't eaten since like 6 p.m. last night. Ross, if number of views was directly proportional to the efforts you put in, every 100k would be a small number. I really appreciate the efforts. I really appreciate that, Polkit. Thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate that. Hey, man, just your thoughts on the James over Rudiger decision from Nate. No worries, Nate. Yeah, so I have answered that, but I'll answer that again. I'm happy like re-answering questions because I know people come in and out. Like Anesh has just said, need to drop off now, mate. Good to see you, mate. So I think James will start 2 of the next 3, in my opinion. So he's got Burnley, Norwich, and Newcastle. I think James will start 2 of those. I don't know which 2 he's going to start, but I think he'll start 2 of those 3. I think Rudiger will start all 3. When it comes down to would I prefer James for 2 plus maybe a substitution appearance off the bench or Rudiger for all 3, I think I'd prefer James for 2 rather than Rudiger for 3. So for me, I would probably lean towards James, but it comes down to your risk appetite. Where did you get your fleece from? This is a Sherpa from Under Armour. You can see it as sort of a really faint thing there. I think it's like £80 from Under Armour. It's quite a nice one. I do like a fleece or a Sherpa. I'm a bit hot, to be honest, now. I might end up having to strip off in a second. But thank you for saying where you get it from. Got a couple of super chats. So one from True Fandela says, Captain Rafinha or Rudiger? I would just about lean towards probably Rudiger. The reason for that is he's definitely, or predicted to start both games. I won't say definitely going to start. He's predicted to start both games. You would expect a clean sheet in one at least, and then a 2-pointer in the other. So you're probably looking at a floor with Rudiger of 8 points, whereas a floor with Rafinha is probably 4 points. I think a clean sheet in both is not out of the question. So I think with Rudiger, you're probably hoping for maybe 14 points, maybe with a couple of bonus points, and that's a 28 captaincy. With Rafinha, he would need to get a couple of attacking returns there to match that. So I'd probably just about lean towards Rudiger over Rafinha, but I don't own Rudiger. And because I'm not sure that James starts both of them, I'm going for Rafinha myself. Dr. Williams says, do you think a -4 is good for Weghorst to Jimenez? I personally like that, yes. I think you get a better fixture this week. You get double this week. You get a better fixture in 29, and you get a fixture in 30. So I think Jimenez is definitely a better option to Weghorst personally. Cool, we got another super chat. From Declan says Dawson, Elise, and Antonio to Rudiger, James, and Rafinha for a minus. Rudiger / James, Rafinha, and Broja for a -8. Yeah, that looks like a no-brainer. The only thing is you're taking out Dawson and Antonio, Declan, who both play in Game Week 30. And obviously, James and Broja, or Rudiger and Broja, neither of those play in 30. So you're actually losing 2 players there for Game Week 30. So that's something to consider. Best Weghorst replacement with Game Week 30 in mind. Probably Lacazette, Jimenez, or potentially outside of that, if you can stretch to Kane, you might want to go for Kane. You might want to go for Ollie Watkins is a decent option, but of course he can be rotated with Danny Ings. Hi Ross, loving the more frequent live streams. Would you play Ramsdale or Lloris this and next game week? I would go Ramsdale. I'd probably go Ramsdale in both. I'd definitely go Ramsdale this week personally. I don't think it's a bad fixture for Spurs, but I could see them conceding. I think it's a better fixture for Ramsdale. And then next week, really tricky one. You might end up wanting a bench boost if you've got one of those on your bench. Why is no one talking about Vardy? We've spoken about Vardy a few times on this stream already, Justin, but he's got a single game week this week. Obviously, he doesn't have a great fixture in 31. And also, he's just come back from injury, so we don't know how much he's going to be rotated with Daka. He's obviously not going to come in and just play 90 minutes every game, so his minutes are going to be managed. And I think potentially Kane is the better option at the moment because he's been playing quite well recently, and we know he's nailed on for 90 minutes each game. Havertz or Mount, please. I probably just about prefer Mount because his underlying statistics are better. But Havertz might be slightly more nailed, and his underlying statistics aren't shocking, but they're sort of like a 0.3 expected goal involvement per 90, so... Do you reckon start Saka or Cancelo? I'd start Saka because I've sold Cancelo, but I don't mind starting either of those. Trust your gut feeling on that one. I think that's a pretty close decision. Why is no one talking about Ziyech? Ziyech obviously picked up an injury recently, so how much he's going to play in the double, I don't know. I would be highly shocked if Ziyech starts both games. So that's probably why no one's talking about Ziyech, really. Raptor, mate, do you prefer Rudiger and James or Mount and James? I'd probably just go Rudiger and James. Safety of starts with Rudiger and also clean sheet. Probably more likely than 2 clean sheets. I think it's more likely than 2 returns from Mount, maybe. Kane is currently on my bench with double game week Willock in my team. Does that even make sense? I think Willock ahead of Kane isn't a huge issue, but I think there's probably someone in your team that you can put Kane in ahead of. I wouldn't be benching Kane at the moment. Pick one duo, Silva and James or Trent and Robertson for the long term. I would mix and match those, so I would probably have Trent and James. I wouldn't have one duo or the other. I'd probably mix and match, or Silva and Trent. I'd probably try and have one Chelsea, one Liverpool. If you are having Trent still, I'd probably prefer Silva and James plus Trent, if that makes sense. These questions are getting stranger. Why is no one talking about Fabinho? Because Fabinho is not a very good option. Are you set on Rafinha? Yeah, I'm set on Rafinha. I can see a lot of questions in the chat about captaining Rafinha, and if I'm set on him, is he a trap? There is absolutely nothing statistically wise to back Rafinha. Don't do it just because I'm doing it. It's a pure gut feeling call from me. I really like the look of Rafinha this week. I think he's a good captaincy shout, but it's just a feeling I've got. Sometimes I captain based on gut feeling. It's just one of those things. I just saw, is Sarr a good captaincy shout? Of course, I've got Saiss and Cody in my team. I think one clean sheet is definitely possible, but Wolves' recent underlying data is really not that great. So I think you've got a very decent chance that Wolves don't keep a clean sheet because their underlying data is not great, but I would still back them for one clean sheet. Hi, Raptor. Why Rafinha over Coutinho? Coutinho's better underlying statistics. Yes, you need to be careful with this. Coutinho's got better underlying statistics per 90, but Coutinho never plays 90 minutes. Coutinho sort of comes off like 60, 70 minutes quite often. So across a double game week, I'd be very shocked if Coutinho gets 180 minutes. When you reduce Coutinho's minutes down, his underlying data is actually fairly comparable to Rafinha. Also, Rafinha is probably still on penalties in the absence of Bamford. Even with Bamford back on the pitch, I wouldn't be surprised to see Rafinha keep penalties. So that's why I've gone Rafinha over Coutinho. Is Salah a good option based on the statistics you analyse? Yeah, I still think that Salah's a fantastic option. I just tend to prefer to back a double game week player personally. What chips do you have left? I have these chips left. These are the chips that I have left. So I've still got my free hit, I've still got my wild card, and I've still got my bench boost. So no, I'm not bench boosting because I currently play on free hitting in 33. 33 is likely to be a massive, not massive, it's likely to have between sort of 4 and 9 teams doubling in 33. We're also likely to have as many as 2 teams blanking. So game week 33 is likely to be quite a big double and a reasonable blank. The teams predicted to blank in 33 could potentially be Wolves and Leeds. And I know a lot of us will have maybe double or triple Wolves and maybe Rafinha. So free hit in 33. I'm then going to wildcard out of that in 34, and then I'm going to set up with my 34 wildcard for a bench boost in 36. That's why I'm not bench boosting this week. They're the 3 chips that I've got left. So that's the current plan. Vardy or Jimenez? Probably Vardy, but you'd have to sacrifice elsewhere. So maybe Jimenez for now. Kilman or Saiss? Sice, probably. I think when Weghorst Halls versus Chelsea, everyone should take a 2-week hiatus from FPL and look in the mirror. Stranger things have happened in FPL. You're a beautiful man, Raptor. I hope you're having a good day. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Same strategy as me. Yeah, I know a lot of people will be on this now. Andy spoke about this in his most recent video as well. I've been on this strategy for about... God, those of you that watch the channel for a while, I've been on this strategy for about 2.5 months. And I think it has worked out in my favour. I think a lot of people are coming up for it now. So, love your analysis. I'm risking James captain to make up ground. Go for it, Blake. I really like that. Just be prepared for him to only start one of them, of course. Foden out for Son for a -8. Yeah, I like that. You could potentially just do that next week, I guess, for the double game week, but I do like that. Harry Potter lookalike, did someone just say? I mean, I've got less hair than Harry Potter, but I do have the round glasses. I don't remember Harry Potter having a beard either. Michael says, I need to head off, but I've loved the stream. We'll be back next week. Good to see you, Michael. Definitely tune in next week for sure. Is there any double game week in 37? Yes, 37 is almost definitely a double game week, but it's likely to be a small double game week. So I'll just bring up my notes currently for which teams are potentially likely to double in 37. This is very provisional. This is based on some of the stuff that Mikhail Tokvam has said, that Bren Cronin has said, and that James from Planet FPL has said. But the teams that could possibly be doubling in game week 37 at the moment, and this is very provisional, don't make moves based off of this, is Chelsea, Leeds, and Leicester. And then West Ham could potentially have a blank in game week 37. They're the only fixtures that at the moment look like they might go into double game week 27. So that means Leicester would have a double game week of Watford and Norwich. And Leeds would have a double game week of Brighton and Chelsea. And then Chelsea would have a double game week of Manchester United and Leeds. So I'm not saying those are definitely happening, but those are some potential double game weeks in 37. At the moment, game week 36 looks like it could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So double game week 36 looks like it could have 10 teams doubling. That's why I'm saving my bench boost. And that's why I say you should save a chip of some kind for that week. Just go back to my team so you can see it. Just confirmed to transfer out Cancelo. Going to be a scary watch with Manchester City from now on. Yeah, I mean, I benched Cancelo not last week, the week before, and it was a scary watch. But these are just the things you got to do. FPL Rengoku has arrived. Rengoku, I think that's how I pronounce it. Good to see you, mate. Captaincy pick: Rafinha, Jimenez, Broja, or Rudiger. I don't know. I mean, Rafinha, out of those four, I'd probably go Rafinha versus Rudiger. I'd probably just about lean towards Rudiger, probably if I own him. Am I weird for wanting to captain Salah in a double game week? No, I think Salah's going to be a very, very common strategy for captaincy. I just always like backing a double game week player. It has backfired in the past. Captaining Kane or Son would have been better than Weghorst. Captaining someone else other than Dennis and King would have been better. In game week 23, was it? So captaining a single game week player works out perfectly sometimes, but I just would always rather increase my probability of getting a return by going for a player with 2 fixtures. Ward-Prowse over Salah for captaincy. That being said, I think there are certain players that I would back Salah over, and I think I would just about back Salah over Ward-Prowse personally. I have Watkins. Is he a good captaincy choice? I think if Watkins starts both games, he could be a fantastic captaincy choice. I just don't know if he is going to start both games. Maybe go for it. I think there are probably better options, though. Willock hat-trick incoming. Yep, I do think Willock's going to do fairly well this double game. If I was on a wild card, I'd potentially have Willock in my team. Good morning, APK says, does Jesse Marsh play decent attacking football? Yeah, so I was trying to read up on Jesse Marsh a little bit, just obviously because I've got Rafinha in my team and I want to captain him. I think Jesse Marsh is a similar sort of manager to Ralph Rangnick and also Ralph Hasenhüttl as well, the two Ralphs. He sort of plays a sort of high-pressing, counter-attacking football. The similarities with Ralph Rangnick is that he plays quite narrow in his counter-attacking football. So rather than using the wings a lot, which is where Rafinha's been quite useful in the past, Jesse Marsch actually plays quite a lot of central football. So I think what we're going to see from Raphinha, whether he plays sort of right wing, right attacking mid, or whether he plays centrally in a 4-2-2-2, what we're going to see from Raphinha is a lot more central work. Now, I don't know whether that's going to be good. I don't know whether that's going to be bad. He'll obviously still be out on the right quite a lot. I'm not saying he's not going to hug the touchline at points, but I think a lot of his work will be more centrally. And I actually think that could lead to potentially some more returns. That being said, it might take a bit of a transition because he's so used to playing really wide right under Bielsa and then cutting in on the left. But to answer your question, I do think that Jesse Marsch is going to play some good attacking football. I don't think he's necessarily going to be more attacking than Bielsa. But what we're going to see is probably more structure. He won't play that one-to-one marking style that we saw under Bielsa. So I think Raphinha is a decent captaincy option. If you are on the stream, by the way, we've still got 650 people here watching. Please do drop a like. Please make sure you subscribe. Got big things that are happening, as I said, here on this channel. And I think you're going to hopefully want to get on the journey sooner rather than later. So definitely make sure you drop a like on the stream. Hwang or Rodrigo, I need a forward below 6.4. Yeah, I answered this already. I think probably just about Hwang. But if Rodrigo starts both, he's a great option. I think I'd probably just lean towards Hwang. Start one of Trent, Saiss, or Ramsey. I'd probably say Saiss, Trent. Surely you've got to start all three of those. Alex, is there not a way you can look to bench other players instead? I'd try and start all three of those. James or Rudiger, I have Silva already. If you've got Silva already, I would double up with James. If you don't have Silva, I guess the smart thing to do is probably Rudiger. But you've already got the clean sheet covered, probably. I expect Silva to start too, so I would say James. Weghorst, Bowen, Webster, and Dalot, and Cancelo to James, Saiss, Coley, Kulusevski, and Broja for a -16. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. You maybe don't need to make the Kulusevski move this week. You can maybe make that next week for free. Is Pookie worth it as a budget forward? Oh, my camera's lagging. 2 seconds. We'll just turn the camera off. It just lags out every now and again. I'm still here, by the way. The camera's just going to be reset for 2 seconds. I don't think you need to make the Kulusevski move this week, so I'd maybe just bench Kulusevski. Oh, the next question, sorry, is Pookie worth it as a budget forward? Yeah, I don't mind Pookie. I think there are probably better options. Broja is probably better for me, but I don't mind Pookie. What about Lukaku? I don't mind Lukaku as an option at all. I think there are better uses of that spot. Potentially Kane and Vardy I'd probably prefer. Rappo, do you think Ramsey will be a good cover for Coutinho? Yeah, I think Ramsey's absolutely fine for Coutinho. I might end up even moving Coutinho to Ramsey in the future. I just fancy for this double game week. Like I said, I'm trying to have fun with FPL at the moment, and for me, Coutinho is a very, very fun pick, so I'm perfectly happy choosing him. Johan says, firstly, bench Dennis or Lacazette. At last, bench Martinelli or Son. I would play Son rather than Martinelli, and I would play... I'm currently playing Lacazette ahead of King, but that's a very close one. I'm not sure. I still haven't committed to Lacazette over King, so I can't answer that question for you, unfortunately, yet. But definitely Son ahead of Martinelli for me. I'd play Son, that is. Your beautiful head has disappeared from the screen. Yeah, I'm just resetting my camera. It lags out on OBS every like 45 minutes for some reason. I need to look into it, but I just can't find out why it does that. So I'll be back in about 20 seconds. Clouds just keeps commenting, Willock hat-trick incoming. I know, Clouds. I know. Willock's getting a hat-trick. If he does, we'll come back to this stream and we'll call you a genius. I do think Willock's a good option for what it's worth. Kilman or 8 Nuri. 8 Nuri is probably the better pick if he plays, but I just do think he has that competition from Johnny and Marcel, so maybe I'd end up going for Kilman just for safety. But the issue is when Bolly's back, whenever that is, should be in the next sort of couple of months, Kilman also becomes a threat as well, due to Bolly, rotation threat. How is Nanoraptor? Nanoraptor's doing good, thank you for asking. We sorted out a wildcard team last night. It's a very nice team, to be fair. Right, let's see if the camera is working again. Let's turn the camera back on. Saka to Willock for a -4. I wouldn't be doing that, no, because you get a double with Saka next week and you also get a fixture in 30. Cancelo or Tierney? I'd probably go for Tierney. Eight Nuri is injured, I believe. Is he? I haven't checked that myself. There you go. I didn't actually know that. Thank you for letting me know. There we are. I'm back. Semedo replacement. Livramento or Dyer? Oh, that's a really tough one. If you need the player in game week 30, I'd go for Dyer. Do I go for the Chelsea double up or the Villa double up? Probably Chelsea. Do I bring in James or Kilman? I'm not intending on playing my free hit in 30. If you need extra players for 30, it'd probably be Kilman, but obviously James is better for this week. You can, of course, make transfers in 29 and 30 for game week 30. Ross, would you go with Sarr and Kulusevski or Dubravka and Saka? Oh, that's a great question. Probably Dubravka and Saka, assuming your second keeper's Ramsdale. If your second keeper's not Ramsdale, then probably Sarr and Kulusevski. But if your second keeper is Ramsdale and Dubravka and Saka. What is Nana Raptor's rank? She is 24k. Ridiculous. Do you remember when you entered YouTube in Andy's channel this season? Yeah, I did do a video on Andy's channel. That's true. If you haven't watched that, by the way, just go onto Andy's channel and just search like FPL Raptor. I think it was called like Psychology. I don't know what you called it, actually. Yeah, I did a video with Andy on his channel in pre-season. That was super cool. Hey, hang on. Is Eight Nuri injured since when? Yeah, I haven't heard it. Let me have a look about this. I'll have a look. No, not that one. I haven't seen anything about Eight Nuri injury, but I'm not looking out for it, right? I'm just going to go to Ben Dinnery's site. So if you want to know about injuries, by the way, I'm not plugged to recommend this site. This is Ben Dinnery's website. Ben Dinnery is like an analyst, an injury analyst. So if you ever want to find out any injuries, he updates this quite regularly. So if I just go to Wolves. No, so he doesn't have anything noted for Eight Nuri. So I can't see anything with an Eight Nuri injury. The only thing he's got for injury is Nelson Semedo thigh injury and predicted to return in April. So I can't see anything that would suggest Eight Nuri is injured. So you should be fine. No Spurs gang hoping they blank. Yeah. To be fair, I might not even own any Spurs for game week 29 either, which could be a bit of a disaster. Lacazette or Jimenez? God, then both of them, neither of them are very good, and I own both of them. Probably Lacazette. Jimenez this week, but like long term, probably Lacazette. What's the name of the website where you can see your projected points? It's there's two of them. I'll type them in the chat. They're the two websites that you can look at your projected points, either FPL Review or Fantasy Football Fix. FPL Buddy says, I've been watching you since game week 1. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I only started the channel in the summer. So, yeah, you've basically been watching me since the start, since this channel started. Let me know in the chat if you've been watching this channel since like the summer, since the very beginning. I appreciate those of you that have. Just going to take off my fleece. 2 seconds. I am still here. Yep. Clive says, me, since back game week 10. That's still fairly early on. Yes, sir. Been watching since pre-game week 1. Since the summer. Love to see it. All right. Yeah, love it. Lots of people that have been here. Wait, I don't understand. Raptor, please talk less in the vids. What do you what do you want me to do in my videos? Would you like me to just sort of stare into your soul, stare at the camera? That's a pretty funny comment. First time watching, let's go. Love to see that, Robert. Nothing wrong with that. Who would you captain between Silva, Rafinha, and James? I would captain Rafinha, as you can see on your screen, but I don't necessarily think that's the only decision. I think it's completely up to you. Sorry, that comment really made me laugh. Talk less in your videos. Do you mean talk slower? Or do you literally just mean stop talking? Yes, absolutely. Followed you since the start of the season. Love your channel. Thank you very much, Bernardino Pereira lol. If that's your name, that's a very cool name. Are you really only 24 years old? I am really only 24 years old, but I am 25 in 3 weeks. So March 29th, I turned 25. So yes, I promise I'm only 24. Can we please get a 10-second stare down the camera after the intro in your next video? Absolutely. I might just upload a 5-minute video just like stroking my beard and looking at the camera. By the way, if you've never done YouTube, staring at a camera is a very strange thing to do without having done it before. It's like a staring competition, but like the thing that you're staring at doesn't have eyes. Sorry, let me get back to answering questions. Just put Nana's team on screen to answer all of the questions. Yeah, let me see if I can actually get Nana's team on here. I did screenshot it, I think, last night when we were sorting out. Yeah, there's Nana Raptor's team. Right, let me add an image. Sorry, you're seeing like just fiddling around on OBS. I don't know how much of the back end of OBS you can see, or if you're just going to still see my team. I'm just getting Nana Raptor's team up because I know a lot of people want to see it. I think that's it. I'll leave that on screen for 2 seconds. That's Nana Raptor's team. So she's wildcarded this week. Obviously, as always, her main source of content is my videos. So she's going to use a lot of what I do to help inform what she does. So there are a few picks that have, obviously she's watched my videos, she's heard me talk about them, and she wants them as a result. But a lot of those are her own picks. For example, she was perfectly happy going with Van Dijk over Trent. What else? She really wanted Livramento. I suggested probably not going for Livramento, maybe going for like Shah so that she could bench boost next week, or maybe going for someone that plays in blank game week 30. But she wanted Livramento. Who else? She really wanted Kulusevski, which is great. Havertz was her own pick as well. So there were quite a few that she picked that I necessarily didn't. The only thing that I convinced her not to do, and I'm quite nervous now, is I convinced that she really wanted Dan James. And I just said that under Jesse Marsch, we don't even know that Dan James is going to play. So I told her not to pick Dan James, and I'm really nervous now that Dan James is going to do really well. But outside of that, yeah, it's a really nice wildcard team. She is captain in Salah. So, by the way, this is not my team. This is Nana Raptor's team. So I'll put my team back on screen. So she just wanted to go for this. And I think she said she's going to look to bring in Manchester City, and she likes having Manchester United players because she's a Man United fan. So she said she might be taking out like Havertz and Rudiger in a few weeks, maybe for like Cancelo and Sancho or something like that. Start mixing it up a little bit again. So that's Nana Raptor's team. Oh, wrong way. That way. There you go. Just splashed water all over my face. Oh, love live streams. See if that's a video. I just cut that out, throwing water all over my own face. We have a new member in the middle of destroying my glasses with water. FF Scoped, thank you very much for becoming a member. I do massively appreciate that. Why Havertz as a long-term pick? I think she just likes Havertz as a pick. I don't think it's necessarily a long-term pick, but I do think he's still a great shout. The thing is, you don't have to pick players long-term, right? You can pick players sort of more short-term. Just a second, just got to clean my glasses after throwing water all over my face. Sorry, back to answering questions. I'm getting a little bit distracted here, aren't I? 24-year-old genius and author of a book, The Mind Game. Will get it soon, Ross, and I urge everyone to do the same. Best-selling author, Raptor is the aim. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, if you haven't bought the book, by all means, have a go. It's about time we got to meet Nana. Yeah, I was home for Christmas, about to get Nana onto the video. Nana then got COVID, so I had to like self-isolate from her, and I don't live anywhere near Nana Raptor now. But maybe over the summer, maybe I'll do like a pre-recorded video where we just sort of like get to meet Nana. But it's really difficult because I don't live anywhere near my family. Right, Saka, Trent, or Cancelo? If you're saying start one, I'd probably just about lean towards Trent. Start Shah or Livramento. I would start Livramento personally, and then maybe start Shah next week. Is my app bugged or does Chelsea have a single game week now? I think your app's bugged. Mine still shows double game week. Which Chelsea attacker would you choose on a free hit? Probably Havertz. Yeah, maybe on a free hit Havertz, but like long term, I think Mount's probably the better choice. I think he's just got slightly better underlying statistics. Sice or Cody? Sice for me. Would you captain James? I don't mind captaining James. I think he's a decent shout. Start White or King? Probably King, just because White's not got much attacking threat. So with King, with White, you're likely to get a 6-pointer. King, if he just plays both games, you're going to get probably at least 4 points from that. Hwang over Jimenez. I don't mind Hwang over Jimenez, but Jimenez is definitely the better option for me. Hwang's underlines aren't great. Jimenez is also on penalties, so I'd probably lean towards Jimenez. But of course, with Hwang, you get a massive saving, so it might be worth it. Ramsey or Willock on free hit. I already have Coutinho. I'd probably take the risk on Willock. Willock and Ramsey's underlying statistics are very similar, so the underlying statistics don't really recommend one over the other, but I just quite like the look of Willock at the moment. Thoughts on triple Chelsea defence in your wild card? I don't mind that Zodiac, but it depends how you're navigating game week 30. I'd probably only be on a double up myself, but that could be amazing. FPL Buddy says, can I send you my team on Twitter? I probably won't get around to looking at it. This isn't like a brag or anything, but when you have like 30,000 followers, you of course get sent a lot of teams. So the best thing to do if you want feedback on your team, I'll actually just plug this now, 2 seconds. Good opportunity to plug it. There's 2 things you can do. If you want personalized feedback on your team from myself, you can become a Raptor 1 member and I'll give you personalized feedback whenever, right? If you want personalized feedback from just other people and it doesn't need to be me, just join our Discord channel for free. But if you want feedback from myself, become a Raptor 1 member. So you can either click the join button next to the subscribe button, or you can click the link in the description, which says if you want to become a member, click here. Unfortunately, I have to do that because I can't give 30,000 people. I get hundreds of DMs per day, give people personalized feedback. So I'm just going to share the screen now. Let's see if that works like that. Cool. So this is the Discord community. What I'm actually going to do is I'll just invite you guys now. If I just go to the FPL chat. So I'm just going to spam this in the chat quickly. I will get back to answering your questions immediately. Don't worry. Oh, Jesus. Didn't mean to do that. I know I'm spamming my own chat. Moderators, please don't ban me for spamming the chat. So what we've got in this Discord channel is basically an opportunity to chat with other people about your FPL team. So what you've got is you've got an introduce yourself section. So if you want to introduce yourself as you enter, you can do that. We've then got loads of like FPL channels. So it's FPL chat, rate my team. So if you want personalized feedback on your team here, look, you can see people are dropping their team in, people are giving them feedback based on that. So that's an option as well. God, I'm gonna sneeze. There's a captaincy section, so you can talk about who you're captaining for that week. You've got team news, injuries, there's a stat spot, so you can do things such as my favorite one, because it's really simple, it's just command deadline. That will tell you when the deadline is. So the deadline is in 54 minutes and 38 seconds, so start getting those teams locked in. We've got weekly polls as well, so you can see we ran a poll for which chip are you going to be playing in Game Week 28, etc. We've also got a captaincy poll as well, which we're going to look at in a second. This is the Raptor 1 members section, so if you become a Raptor 1 member, you've got a Raptor 1 members chat, and you've also got a Raptor 1 rate my team. So that's like a smaller, I think there's only sort of 30 or 40 members now. So that's where you can, there's like a smaller community to get feedback. And then my favorite thing about it is there's loads of like miscellaneous channels. So football, UCL fantasy, F1, FIFA 22, if you want to chat FIFA, general gaming, there's food as well. So if you want to send pictures of your food in, you can do that. So we've got fitness as well. So I post some of my runs in there, general support, music sharing. There's memes in there as well. So I just put this meme in the other day. When is your birthday? March 1st. Then he starts walking. Hopefully you get that. If you get the meme, let me know in the chat. I think that's absolutely hilarious. You get face reveals as well. So if you want to reveal your face, you can do that. Charity giving as well. So we're sharing some charity stuff. Book club. So I've just created a Goodreads account as well. And then we've also got, this is super cool, there's a football Wordle. So if you enjoy playing Wordle, you can play football Wordle there as well. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So I'll stop plugging that now. But if you want to join the Discord, I'll just put the link in the description a couple more times. Last few times, I promise. there's the link for the Discord if you want to join that. All right. And then I'll stop. There you go. Cool. So regarding if you want personalized feedback on your team, I can't do that unless you become a Raptor 1 member because there's too many people. However, if you want some personalized feedback from other people, you can do so on the Discord channel. Reece or Rudiger for the armband? I think for the armband, I would lean towards Rudiger. I just think there's a chance that James starts Burnley, misses Norwich, and then starts Newcastle in the next 3, which I'd be perfectly happy with. But for captaincy, I think I would probably lean towards Rudiger. Would you do Walker-Peters to James for a -4? Kush says on. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Bench boost is on. Would you do Walker-Peters to James? No. Walker-Peters is a great option this week. I would like to get James, but it wouldn't be for Walker-Peters personally. Is Game Week 36 100% confirmed a double game week? Yes, it is. The reason for that, we don't know which fixtures are going into 36. The reason for that is 33 and 36 are 2 game weeks where there aren't European competitions midweek. So that makes 100% sense to put fixtures into those weeks for that reason. So 33 is guaranteed to be a double of some kind, and 36 is guaranteed to be a double of some kind as well for that reason. And because of the way that 33 swings, 36 is more likely to be the bigger double game week. So I would put my house on it that we'll get at least 6 teams doubling in 26, and as many as 14 teams could be doubling in 36. We've been saying 26, I mean 36. We've got at least 6 teams doubling in 36, as many as 14 teams doubling in 36. I think likely, if I had to guess, it would be 10 teams doubling in Game Week 36. Would you bench Trent or Livramento? I'd probably just about bench Trent, believe it or not. I wouldn't bench either of them personally, though. Is 5 double game week players enough for this week? Yeah, I've only got 6. It really does depend on who your double game week players are as well, rather than just like quantity. It also depends on quality as well. So that, yeah, there's that as well. You're thinking behind Rafinha over Coutinho for captaincy. I think probably that's a tricky one. Their statistics are fairly similar when you adjust for minutes. I just think Rafinha's on penalties as well. Rafinha's got more routes to points for me personally, and I'm just hoping there's some sort of new manager bounce. So for me, I like Rafinha over Coutinho, but I think, obviously, I've brought Coutinho as part of a -8, so I clearly think Coutinho is going to do well. I just slightly prefer Rafinha to Coutinho. Got another super chat from Gorav, says, who scores more this week, Jimenez or Alonso? Maybe Alonso. There's a chance Alonso starts both. I do think Alonso's going to start the Burnley game. If I had to guess, I'd say he starts the Burnley game. Outside of that, I don't know about the Norwich game, but I'd maybe think Alonso. That's a tough one. Chris says, Walker-Peters is injured though. Bench boost active. Is he? I've not heard that Walker-Peters is injured. I'll have a look on Premier Injuries again. Have a look then. I've not heard that Walker-Peters is injured. Let me know in the chat if that is the case. Oh, okay. Carl had a little problem with his hamstring. That's why we subbed him. Ooh. Okay. That makes that a lot trickier then. I don't know the answer to that. Apologies. I'd maybe do it then. But the thing is, a little problem with his hamstring. He's subject to a late fitness test. He could still play. That's a really tricky one. I guess if you're bench boosting, you want to be sure. So yeah, maybe Walker-Peters out for a -4 makes sense. Sorry, I completely missed that yesterday. Didn't catch that at all. This is the thing. When you're not looking for players, like I don't own Walker-Peters. I don't really care if he's injured. It doesn't affect me. So you don't look out for these things. Got another super chat from Ludwig. Thank you very much. Would you go Mount or Havertz for a 1-week punt? For just game week 28, I do quite fancy Havertz. But what I would say is Mount's underlying statistics are better than Havertz. So I'd go for Havertz for sort of like a gut feel. Think he might start at least one of them up top. But Mount's underlying statistics are slightly better. Would you do Ramsdale to Dubravka for a hit? Bench boosting this week, already have Tierney. No, because if Ramsdale keeps a clean sheet, Dubravka for a hit's going to have to get 2 clean sheets to match Ramsdale for a hit. So I'd probably just bench boost Ramsdale for a hit. Would you do Tierney to Luca Dean or James? Probably not, because next week you get a double for Tierney and you don't get a double for Digne or James. So probably not. Another super chat from Was Allen. Bench boost with Foster, Saka, Cancelo, Bowen, or should I wait? I think that's a fine bench boost. I don't think it's a great bench boost. What it comes down to for me there is if you've wildcarded already, yes, I would bench boost that. If you're wildcarding post game week 30, I would bench boost 36, is my opinion on that, mate. So there's your answer. Depends on when you've wildcarded. What are your reasons on starting Saka ahead of King? Have the same dilemma. I just think Saka's more likely to score. If I start King, it would be ahead of Lacazette, and I've still not 100% decided on that. I'm really not sure. King versus Lacazette's a tricky one. At the moment, I'm favouring Lacazette. I just think Saka and Lacazette are more likely to score than I think King is, even in 2 fixtures. Werner or Kane? It's got to be Kane for me. I don't even think that Werner's going to start both personally. So I'd probably go Kane. Son versus Dennis to start. I'd definitely start Son. Every stream I go on has Rafinha captain. I've been saying it all week, to be fair. I'm not saying that I started anything, but what I'm saying is I think a lot of people will start to captain Rafinha because other people are captaining Rafinha, but I've been saying it all week I'm on Rafinha. It's just a gut feeling call. I don't know why other people are captaining him. I think there are probably better options if you're looking at like sort of percentage for any time return, stuff like that. But I've just got a good feeling. Rafinha over James captain, yeah. I prefer Rafinha to James, but that's just me. Willock captain could be a punt. I don't mind it. I just don't think it's the best. It's the best double game week for Willock. And I think there are better options than Willock. But if you fancy it, this is the sort of week where you just go with your gut feeling, I think. Would you do Son to Havertz for a -4 to captain back next week? If you really want to captain Havertz, Kush, then yeah, I think so. But I would wonder if it's better to just not take that hit, start Son and captain someone else. But if you've really got in your head that Havertz is a captain, you shout, then you go for it. White or Spurs defender on wildcard bench this week? I'd get White just for security of starts and also decent fixtures from 31 onwards as well. I'm rolling my transfer this week. Am I crazy? No, I think next week 2 free transfers could be massive. Clive says, do you like Kane captain? I don't mind it. If I were captain in a single game player, I think I'd still be on Salah. But I don't mind Kane as a captaincy shout at all. I think if I didn't own Rafinha or Coutinho, I'd probably be on Salah/Seiss. So I don't mind a single game player. I'm just going to put a poll in the chat quickly. This is completely non-FPL related. I've just been sort of watching a few other streamers, not necessarily FPL streamers. They have background music, obviously, in their streams. Now, for things such as FIFA, it might suit it slightly more. But what I'd like to know, knowing the style of my streams, obviously they're not particularly sort of like laid-back, streamy sort of vibes where we listen to music. Would you like just a really bit of sort of faint background music? I can get some sort of playlist for the chat. Would you like me to try some background music in the next live stream? So just let me know with that poll. If it's close, I'll just keep it and I won't do background music. If some of you, if it's sort of over sort of 65, 70% want background music, then maybe I'll try it. But just let me know in the chat whether you want some background music in future. It would be quite underwhelming. It would sort of be more like piano, sort of a little bit of guitar. It's not going to have lyrics to it. It would just, but I don't know if that sort of suits my style. We'll have to wait and see. Would you start Dennis or Trent? I'd start Trent. Coutinho captain. Yeah, I like Coutinho captain. I think that's a decent shout. Martin says, hello, good morning. I need some extra points to win my rival mini league. Okay, that's fine. What do you think about super differential Lukaku? Good luck, everyone. I don't mind that at all. I think that's a fantastic shout. You could even go Vardy if you want a super differential. It looks like he's going to be starting against Leeds, so that could be a good option. Sell Cancelo and Reguilon for Van Dijk and Rudiger, or sell Tomiyasu and Reggie for Van Dijk and Livra. I probably prefer the Reguilon and Cancelo for Van Dijk and Rudiger, probably just about. Great content, Raptor. You've drawn me in mainly from looking at Andy's content. Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate that. Glad you enjoy it. I think Andy and myself are quite similar in content. Mine are just a little bit longer, I guess. But I think Andy's probably the YouTuber that I'm most similar to. It's probably because I like Andy's content so much. I'm probably subconsciously like copying or sort of mirroring what he's doing a little bit on his channel. Lacazette and Son or Kane and Saka? God, that's a great question. I'd go Kane and Saka personally. In both, you get the penalty taker in Lacazette, you get the penalty taker in Kane. I just about prefer Kane and Saka. If you're playing background music, just make sure it's not too loud. Yeah, that's fine. It wouldn't be. No music. When is the best opportunity to play triple captain? Game week 29, Salah against Brighton and Arsenal. Bit of classical would suit the stream. Yeah, maybe a little bit of piano. Ludovico Einaudi is my favourite sort of composer. If anyone listens to that sort of stuff, Einaudi, I love him. Would you do Robertson to Rudiger? Probably going to want him back next week. I'd probably just leave it then. Please talk me out of benching Trent over King. You're benching Trent? I would not bench Trent. There you go, I'm talking you out of it. Don't do it. I've currently got King benched ahead of Lacazette and Saka, let alone Trent. I would not be benching Trent for a Wolves, for a Watford striker. Background music is bad for those of us that watch 2 or more streams at the same time, less views. Okay. It's 50-50, so I won't do probably background music then. Like I said, it was only if it was like basically like everyone was a fan of it, then I might be tempted to, but yeah, I'll probably leave it. Matthew says, care to convince me not to buy a bottle of Captain Reece James Spice Rum? Currently have the armband on him. Firstly, Captain Morgan Spice Rum is the best drink. I have a bottle of it in the cupboard behind me. Captain Morgan's is lovely. Secondly, captain him. Go for it, Matthew. I like it. I like Captain James. I would just worry if I had to predict which games James is going to start over the next 3. I would predict he'll start Burnley, miss Norwich, and then start Newcastle. So I think in a double game week where I only think he's going to start 1, I think there are probably slightly better captaincy options. But by all means, go for it. If I didn't own Rafinha, I'd maybe be tempted, but I just really like the look of Rafinha this week. Do you think there will be anyone over 100% effective ownership this week? Yes, Salah will be over 100% effective ownership. And I think Rafinha and Rudiger will both be approaching 100% effective ownership. So yes, I can't see any reason why Salah wouldn't. Everyone owns Salah from the triple game week 26. And quite a few people will still captain him. So good day, handsome Ross. Good day. What is your thoughts on captaining Raul Jimenez instead of Rafinha? Just because of managerial change in Leeds. Cheers. Jimenez just hasn't looked great. He has been rotated a little bit recently. Wolves' underlying data is not good either. I don't mind captaining Jimenez. He's on penalties, and it's a really nice double game week. Arguably, maybe outside of Chelsea, the best double game week this week. I'm not sure personally that I would be captaining Jimenez at the moment. I just don't trust Wolves' attack enough. Einaudi for the win, and thanks, Trent officially back in the team. Listen, the Watford strikers could do fairly well. I just think Trent is so good, even without a clean sheet. What didn't he? Let me actually get this up because I think I remember Trent against West Ham earlier on in the season. Yeah, so early on in the season against West Ham, Trent scored and assisted. Now I don't pay too much attention to this, but without a clean sheet, he got a 12-pointer goal and assist against West Ham. With a clean sheet, that would have been, what, a 21-pointer, potentially. No, is that right? 6, 9, 6, 18-pointer. Would have been an 18-pointer. So yeah, I wouldn't bench Trent against West Ham, personally. Will Alonso start both games? I would be very shocked if Alonso doesn't start the Burnley game. It's just my opinion. The Norwich one's really tricky. They've obviously got the Champions League after that as well, so it's difficult to work out which fixtures these sort of fullbacks and rotation risk players will miss. Chelsea are going to have to rotate. It's just whether they do it in Norwich or against Newcastle. I think it's more likely to come against Norwich. So if I had to guess, I would say James and Alonso both start Burnley and then probably are both benched against Norwich. But I think there's a chance they both start against Norwich still. What convinced you to take a hit for Cancelo? I just think that James is a better option over future game weeks. And Cancelo has a single fixture this week, doesn't play in blank game week 30. I know James doesn't either, but James has a double in 28, lovely fixture in 29, great fixtures 31, 32, 33. So I just think that James will probably outscore Cancelo. That's the only reason. I have Kyle Walker-Peters, but he's flagged. Should I put Gabriel or Trent in instead? Yeah, we was just having this discussion. It's a tricky one because if he plays both, he's an excellent option. But it does sound like with a hamstring injury, I reckon he could potentially be rested in the first fixture. So yeah, maybe you put in Gabriel or Trent instead. Would you sell Edouard to Lacazette's game more fixtures and a player in game week 30? Felix says, yeah, I probably would. Start Son or Jacob Ramsey. That's a really tough one. I'd probably still start Son, but I'd start Jacob Ramsey ahead of someone else. I'm sure there's somewhere else you could get. Someone just said, will Vardy start against Leeds? Yes. Let me just show you the... Let me just actually double check that Sam hasn't changed what he said. Yeah, so he's just retweeted it as well. So there's an In The Know account. Let me just put his Twitter account in here. Right, so that's Sam Martin's Twitter account. He's sort of in the know. He has a source inside the Leicester team. He's confirmed the team for today against Leeds to be Kasper Schmeichel, Thomas, Soyuncu, Amati, Hamza Chowdhury, Albrighton, Dewsbury Hall, Ndidi, Tielemans, Barnes, and Vardy. So no Maddison. Maddison is injured. So he's confirmed that Vardy's starting. So take of that what you will. I think he's only been wrong once across like the 2.5 seasons that I've followed him. So it's very unlikely that he's wrong here. So yes, it looks like Vardy will be starting against Leeds, to answer your question. I've only got just over half an hour until the deadline, guys, so do make sure that you lock your teams in sort of the next 20 minutes or so, just in case there is some sort of crash. It doesn't look like there will be now. That only happened the once, but I'd lock your team in the next sort of 20 minutes. Got a super chat from Darshan, says, Captain Rudiger or Coutinho? I'd probably Captain Rudiger out of those two, personally. I do think that, obviously, I've brought in Coutinho myself. I think he's a great option. I just think Rudiger's a great shout. I do still think they'll keep 2 clean sheets, and even with 1 clean sheet, you're looking at maybe sort of 8 to 9 points with Rudiger. If he gets full bonus, you could be looking at 11 points. If he gets a goal, you could be looking at sort of 17 points there. So Hwang or Salah benched? I would not bench Salah. Is Hwang a good choice over Jimenez? I still think Jimenez is a better choice, but Hwang's a decent alternative if you really need to save the money. Mount or Havertz? I prefer Havertz for this double game week. I prefer Mount long term. Depends how long you want to hold on to them. Surprised to see so many people bench boosting this week with a single game week players, despite knowing we'll have a big double game week 36 where whatever fixtures are going, you're going to get a bunch of double game week players. Yeah, the issue is that you don't know which teams are doubling in 36. And if you've just wildcarded now, you're probably better bench boosting when you at least know what your bench is going to look like rather than just hoping that it will be better in 36. So I think if I wildcarded early, I'd probably be on a bench boost now. But the fact that I'm saving my wildcard for the bench boost makes it a fairly easy decision for me. I'll just skip to that timeline graphic, just so that you guys know what to expect for the remainder of the season. Is Willock actually a good buy? I think Willock's fine for like an 8th attacker. I don't think anyone's buying Willock expecting him to be suddenly one of the best players in their team. But I think he's got a double-double And I think that he's a decent option as a result of that. You'd probably want to look to sell him maybe game week 31 or 32, though. Would you play White or Cancelo? I'd play Cancelo. Would you play Ramsdale or Foster? I would probably lean toward Foster. I just back the double game week there. Already did Cancelo to James. Is it worth doing Virgil van Dijk to Rudiger as well for a -4? I wouldn't personally do that, no. Schmeichel and Pickford are the best goalkeeper pair with so many fixtures to reschedule. I think one of those is fine. I still think I would have Ramsdale or Sarr in there as well, just because they're so good and they have a double game week in the next 2. The issue with Schmeichel and Pickford is that you don't have a double game week 28 or 29. So you're missing out on potentially 2 extra fixtures. If you have like Ramsdale and Dubravka, you'd get 2 extra fixtures in 28 and 29. Is it worth punting on Dan James captain? I just don't know if Dan James is going to start under Jesse Marsch. We could quite easily see like Harrison, Rodrigo, Gelhardt, and Rafinha as like that front 4 if they play a 4-2-2. Or potentially it could just be Harrison, Rodrigo, and Rafinha if it's a front 3. So it's very difficult to know who's going to play in that team. So I probably wouldn't punt on that personally. Bench Cancelo or Martinelli? I'd bench Martinelli. Just about, I guess. Salah or Rudiger captain? That's pretty close for me. I'd probably just about lean towards the double game week player in Rudiger. Thoughts on Ziyech? I just think due to the injury that he recently had, due to the fact that there's so many players in that front sort of 3 to play in that front 3, I think he'll be benched in 1, potentially 2. So I wouldn't. I'm not personally looking at Ziyech as an option. Main reasons for going James over Rudiger. I just think I'd rather James for 2 fixtures rather than Rudiger for 3. I just think James's attacking output is ridiculous. I know he didn't do that well when Chilwell was injured, so it might just be that he was getting a little bit lucky in the first half of the season, but his underlying statistics were outrageous. We were looking at like a 0.8 expected goal involvement early on in the season. So I just think that the ceiling is so high for James that even with 2 fixtures, I'd rather James for 2 fixtures than Rudiger for 3, just personally. Mr. Frosty, woo, just made it back from the supermarket in time. Happy deadline day all. Good to see you in the chat, my man. Glad you made it. Bench Cancelo or Robertson? I'd bench Cancelo just about, maybe. I think the clean sheet's slightly more likely for Robertson. They've both got great attacking output. You're not going to want to bench either of those, but I'd potentially just about bench Cancelo. Dubravka, good for a long time. I think Dubravka's a fine option. I think most weeks you'd bench Dubravka, but you get him double game week 28, double game week 29 as well. Is Carl Walker-Peters and Manquillo to Livramento and Shaw okay for a -4 for a bench boost? Thanks. Yeah, I really like that for a bench boost. Robertson to Rudiger for a -4. It's a tough one because you get Robertson's double game week next week if you just hold on to him. So you're not actually getting any extra fixtures from that. So unless you're going back to Robertson next week, I'd maybe just hold off on that. Bench 2 from Saka, Tierney and Trent. God, that's not easy, is it? Definitely Tierney. Probably Tierney and Saka, but I wouldn't want to bench any of those particularly. 99% sure I'm doing Cucurella to James and Foden to Rafinha. So Foden and Rafinha in for Cucurella. Sorry, Foden and James, Rafinha, and this the way you've written that has melted my brain. So Cucurella and Foden out for James and Rafinha. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. That's pretty much along the lines with what I've gone for. Bench will be De Gea, Saka, Lacazette, and Bowen. So you're benching Saka and Lacazette. I don't mind that, to be fair. It sounds like you've got a really good team there. Is Maddison out? Yeah, it doesn't look like Maddison's starting. I don't know if he's on the bench or if he's just out altogether. But looking at Sam Martin's tweet, it looks like Maddison isn't starting today. That would be the early team news that I've got. Luka Dean or Sice on a free hit this week. I'd probably just about lean towards Sice. Tempted to go James captain yet, Ross? FPL Graphics says, not yet, mate. I think I'm sticking with Rafinha. Just got to feel him. If James goes crazy and gets like 30 points, trust me, I will be delighted. And I won't regret not captaining him. I'll just be delighted that I own him. JWP or Coutinho? Probably Coutinho. FPL Rob in the chat. Good morning, Ross. Good luck this game week. Good luck to you as well, my man. Thank you for being in the stream. James or Rudiger? See, my advice. I want to advise Rudiger, but I've brought in James because I think that the ceiling is so high that it's worth the risk. I'll explain both. I think it's worth the risk going for James personally. I think it's a fantastic option. But if I'm doing my sense in my job as a sensible content creator, I think the sensible decision is to go for Rudiger because you're almost guaranteed to get him to play the next 3 fixtures. Whereas James, you're probably not likely to get the next 3 fixtures. You're probably likely to get only 2. So that's my take on Rudiger versus James. There is no right or wrong answer here. Voted for no for the background music. I always find it a bit off-putting unless it's very quiet. Yeah, so 60% are on no, so I definitely won't trial that then. That's absolutely fine. I'll end the poll there. 408 votes. Most of you think no background music, so I'm going to leave it there. We'll maybe approach it again next season, but I don't think it really suits my style anyway too much. Good morning, Phil. Dubravka or Ramsdale to start? Also bench boost. Ramsdale, White, Diaz, Bowen. I'm not sure I would bench boost that, and I'd start Dubravka this week. I'm not sure I would bench boost that, Phil. That's a close one, though. Which James are we talking about? Unless I specify Dan James, we are always talking about Reece James in this live stream. Early team news. Yeah, there is early team news. If you just go to that Twitter account, Sam Martin tweeted early team news, but that's for Leicester. I haven't seen anything yet for Leeds. But if you want the Leicester early team news, go to Sam Martin's Twitter page. Vardy is starting. Maddison is not in the team. Again, I don't know if that means that Maddison's benched or if that means Maddison misses out altogether, but Maddison's definitely not in the starting 11 according to Sam Martin. Shah or Target? I actually quite like Target long term, you know. Pretty good creativity statistics. Definitely nailed at left wing back. Created a few key chances recently. I think Target could be a decent option. Target or Cody? Because you get the extra fixture with Cody in Game Week 30, I'd maybe go for Cody, but Target's a fantastic option. Start Dennis or Foden? I'd probably start Dennis, just about. I think it's a great fixture for Foden. Should I bench Trent or Kane? Neither. Unless you're on a wild card and you've got like 9 other really solid doublers. If that is the case, I'd probably just about bench Trent. I wouldn't be benching Kane at the moment. I'm captaining Thiago Silva. Is that a good move? Yeah, Thiago Silva was rested, obviously, in the FA Cup. So I think there's a good chance that Thiago Silva plays both. Bench boost, Saka. Oh, God, I lost it there. Saka, Foster, Bowen, Dennis, or wait for Game Week 36. Oh, that's right on the borderline, isn't it? Because you still get... I might bench boost that. Maybe. That's a really tight one, Antonio. I'd probably bench boost that. Captain Willock or Broja? Neither, but probably I'd lean towards Broja. Looking for a 1-week punt, torn between Mount or Coutinho. Would ship either for Jota/Diaz next week. If it's a 1-week punt, I still like Coutinho, you know, but I think that's very tight. Trust your gut feeling on that. Flip a coin. Whatever feeling you have when the coin lands, that's your gut feeling. I'd go with that one. Start Mahrez or Cucurella. Probably Mahrez. James or Salah or Rafinha captain. I've got all 3, and you can see I'm captaining Rafinha. I think all 3 are great options. I'm not going to tell you which one's captain there. I'm leaning towards Rafinha myself, gut feeling-wise. I don't think James will start both in the double game week, but I hope that means he then starts the Newcastle game. And as a result, it'll be between Rafinha and Salah for me, I think. If I'm advising the sensible decision for you to do, it would probably be Salah, to be honest. But I prefer Rafinha just through gut feeling myself. Good luck this weekend. Good luck, Total Tactics FPL. Good luck, mate. Hopefully see you at the next FPL meetup again, my man. It was nice to meet you. Mount or Havertz? Again, I think I prefer Mount long term because he's got better underlying statistics. But I don't know why I really fancy Havertz for the double game week. If I didn't bring in Coutinho, I might have potentially looked to bring in Havertz. But I just think because Coutinho also gives me the extra fixture in 30, and I know he's going to start both. Whether he plays 90 minutes in both, then I'm not sure. But I think Coutinho made more sense for me. Carl says, Kane and Kulusevski versus Son and Jimenez as a future pairing. Brilliant as always, mate. Thank you, Carl. Good to see you in the chat, mate. Probably Kane and Kulusevski. Probably. What about Jose Sarr captain? I don't mind it. It's a really nice double game week for Wolves. Their defensive data's just not been good, though. It's really not. Let me see if I can bring up the defensive data. Oh, my camera's just lagging out. I'm just resetting my camera, guys. I am still here. Do not leave the stream. I know my camera's turned off. I'm just resetting it on OBS. So if I just have a look at Wolves' defensive data over the sort of the last... We'll have a look on Fantasy Football Fix. Darshiel says, Son is older than Kane, by the way. Yeah, I know, that blows my mind. Someone tweeted that the other day. Could not believe it. So if we just take an arbitrary number, if we do since game week 22, and we look at their underlying data, expected goals conceded, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So since game week 22, that's been about 7 fixtures for Wolves. Per 90 minutes, Wolves rank 15th in the league for expected goals conceded. So Wolves' defensive data has been super, super poor recently. 15th in the league. They are not doing very well for expected goals conceded. Whether that's just a minor blip and we expect them to start to get better again, it's up to you. That is what put me slightly off of captaining a Wolves player. A Wolves defender, at least. Their defensive data has just not been good. So bear that in mind when you're making your decisions. We have a super chat from Jay. Good morning, Jay. Hey, mate, using the free hit, which 3 should I pick out of Willock, Target, Broja, Jimenez, Adams? And should I captain Rafinha or Rudiger? Right, so you've got Willock, Target, Broja, Jimenez, and Adams. I would definitely be having Adams. And I would probably still want Jimenez. So Adams and Jimenez would be in there for me. The reason for Jimenez is he's on penalties, and I still think it's a great double game week. Adams has better underlying statistics than Broja at the moment, so I like Adams. I would potentially be looking for my final spot at Willock versus Broja, and I might still lean towards Broja. I might double up on the Southampton attack. They've looked really good. So it'd be Adams, Jimenez, and then one of Willock or Broja. For captain Rudiger or Rafinha, that's a really tricky decision. I would probably end up captaining Rudiger just about on a free hit. Because you've got enough differentials in and around there. I think captain Rudiger is a fairly safe captaincy choice. Hopefully that helps to answer your super chat, Jay. Right, let's turn the camera back on, see if that's reset it for now. If you are in the stream today, by the way, guys, please do drop a like on the stream. Please make sure you subscribe as well. We are trying to push towards 12,000 subscribers. 15,000 is the next big milestone. So do make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We've got at least 3 pieces of content on a weekly basis at the moment. So plenty of stuff to get your teeth into. There you go. I'm back. Veghorst to Wood. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. James for Cancelo. Yep, I've brought in James for Cancelo myself. Would you go Sarr and Tierney or Ramsdale and Saiss? Probably Ramsdale and Saiss. Surely King has more chances of returning over Saka. Surely King has more chances. King could well do so. And if he sat on my bench and he returns, it'll be a bit annoying. But for me, Saka's starting regardless. If I want to start King, it'll be ahead of Lacazette. I still haven't fully committed, but I think I want to go Lacazette personally. I just think Arsenal and Wolves are decent defensively. Yes, Wolves haven't been great, but I've got double Wolves defence, so I'm clearly backing a Wolves clean sheet. And Arsenal have been really good defensively. So I wouldn't expect Watford to get too many goals. And if they only get 1 or 2 goals, am I expecting that to also be King scoring? Probably not. It's likely more likely to be Dennis, knowing the luck that I've had with that. Saka, Ramsey, or Van Dijk? Who to start? Oh, that's such a tough decision, Robert. I'd probably start Ramsey. I think Alonso starts too. Am I mad to captain him? No, Kush, I like that a lot. I think he's definitely going to start 1, and I would expect that to be the Burnley game. Whether he starts the second one, I'm really not sure. So I don't think Alonso's a bad captaincy shout at all. Can we win the Derby game? And he's put United in brackets. I don't think we're going to win the Derby game, no. But who knows? In a single fixture, could we turn up? Absolutely, for sure. Is there any news about Eight Neri being injured? Please help, really panicking. I can go onto Twitter for you, mate, and have a look if I can see anything. I can't see anything about an Eight Neri injury. So I think you're fine. I could be completely wrong there, but I haven't seen anything. It's not on Premier Injuries, and I can't see many people talking about it. So I think you'll be fine, but please don't rely on me for that. Got a massive super chat from Mr. Frosty. Thank you so much, my man. I'll drop you a thank you on Discord as well. Really, really do appreciate that. As well as becoming a member, also supporting the channel that way. I'm not sure this is correct, but currently playing a 5-3-2 with Trent, Robertson, Cancelo, Kilman, James. Yeah, it's a great back five, fine. Could bench one for Lacazette or Saka, but think the defenders outscore the Arsenal players. If that were me, but obviously you're doing really well this year, so trust your own gut feeling. If that were me, I'd probably start Saka ahead of Cancelo. I know that sounds a bit strange, but I just think Saka's playing really well at the moment. He's fairly nailed on. I think I play Saka over Cancelo. But I do agree, Watford have been defending quite well recently. And I don't expect multiple returns from Saka and Lacazette, whereas a clean sheet for Cancelo is definitely not out the question. And then on top of that, you could be looking at potentially some kind of attacking return and bonus. So I don't hate that at all, Frosty. I think that's a decent option, but I would personally be having Saka ahead of Cancelo. Make sure to ask the Raptor 1 chat as well on Discord, but that would be me personally. Cool, got another few super chats. Do appreciate the super chats. Obviously, get your question answered, but I also appreciate the support of the channel. Alex says, on a wildcard, pick 2 of Luca, Dean, James, and Rudiger. If I were wildcarding personally, it would be James and Rudiger. But what you do need to consider, Alex, is what you're doing with Game Week 30. So are you free hitting? If not, Luca Dean's a great option because you not only get a double this week, you could also get a player in 30. So if you need the extra player in 30 on a wild card, I'd probably recommend Luca Dean and Rudiger just for that safety of clean sheets and starts with Rudiger. If you don't need that extra player for 30, maybe you've already got 7 or 8 players or you're free hitting, I think I'd be on James and Rudiger. Kush says, Alonso versus James captain. Any news on Walker Peters? I don't have any news on Walker Peters. Apparently, he was subbed early due to the hamstring injury, but I don't have an update on that. Alonso versus James captain, I'd probably just about lean towards James, but I think maybe Alonso's slightly more likely to play both games. It's a tricky one. I think James is a better player, better underlying statistics. I'd probably lean towards James captaincy there, Kush. But I do think Alonso's a great option. As we've already discussed, I still think Alonso's a great option. Right, so there's 15 minutes till the deadline, guys. What I'm going to do is I'll just switch to... Let me just get that up now. Make sure you're locking in. Like I said, 15 minutes until the deadline. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch to actually what my team looks like on the site. So you can see that I have actually made those moves. And we can decide last minute if I want to play King ahead of Lacazette. I've still not decided on this, by the way. I'm still very, very tempted to start King ahead of Lacazette. I just think that he's probably got a floor of 4 points, assuming he sees out 60 in each, whereas Lacazette's got a floor of 2 points. So yeah. Let me know again in the chat, guys, what you think. Apologies. That's my final decision, is King versus Lacazette, one of them starting. Got another super chat. Thank you very much. Play Broja or Fraser, or sub Fraser in for Ramsey. I'd play Broja ahead of Fraser. I'd potentially play Fraser ahead of Ramsey as well. I'd definitely be starting Broja, and then it's probably a straight shutout between Fraser and Ramsey. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I'd probably play Fraser, but Ramsey's probably got the better double game week there. See, a lot of you are saying start King now, whereas earlier a lot of you were saying start Lacazette. It's a tricky one. I do always tend to favour the double game week player, but I do have a feeling that Lacazette's going to do relatively well. Oh, it's such a tricky one. I was just over at Andy's stream. Some people were saying that Rudiger is injured. Is this true or is it just a troll? It's just a troll. I'm sure it's just a troll. Let me refresh my Twitter. I can't do that because I'm on that. I'll do it here. Let me just refresh my Twitter. I'm certain that would be a troll. I can't see anything anywhere. Yeah, just a troll. Nothing to suggest that Rudiger's injured at all. James or Coutinho as captain. I'd probably just about lean towards Coutinho just because you get the safety of starts, but you can see my vice is actually on James. So like my risk appetite's quite high at the moment, so I might actually end up captaining James if I had a straight shootout, but I think the sensible thing is potentially James ahead, or Coutinho ahead of James, sorry. God, there are such conflicting comments in the chat about whether to play King or Lacazette. Hate it. Any Leeds or Leicester leaks? Yeah, we've got a Leicester leak, sorry. If you go into that guy's Twitter account, he's tweeted the full Leicester team already, and he is reliable. He's definitely a reliable player. Reliable in the know. Sorry, I was reading another comment. So Vardy, basically the big takeaway from the Leicester leak is that Vardy starts and Maddison is not in the team. I don't know if he's on the bench or if he's missed out completely, but Maddison's not in the starting 11. Vardy is in the starting 11. They're probably the two key takeaways for Leicester. That's a great point. Aditya says King was subbed off in the 51st and 63rd minute in the last 2 game weeks. Just keep him last on your bench. I'm not going to have him last on my bench, but I do agree. The fact that he might not even see out 60 minutes in one or either of the games does make me just think I might just keep Lacazette. Sarr is injured. That could have an impact on Watford's defence. Yeah, that as well. I think I'm leaning towards just keeping Lacazette. Che Adams or Chris Wood and Rudiger or James. If it was me, Adams and James. That's just me, though. Kane, Ramsey or Bro Son. Kane, Ramsey for me. Get an extra fixture in Game Week 30 as well. So you got just over 10 minutes until the deadline. Please make sure that you're locking your teams. I do not want anyone being in a situation where their team's not locked in. Please, if you are playing your free hit bench boost or wildcard, make sure you've activated the chip. I've seen so many people think they've activated their free hit, think they've activated their wildcard, and actually they haven't, and they take like a minus 46 hit. So please make sure if you're playing a chip this week, you've activated your chips. Start Ramsdale or Foster and Saka or Bernardo. I'd start Saka over Bernardo Silva, and I'd probably start Foster over Ramsdale personally. Hey Ross, I'm on a free hit. Outside of Salah, would you have any other single game week players? Yeah, so I did tweet I did put a free hit draft out already. I tweeted it. I would have Kane and Salah, so I would have 2 single game week players. But it's up to you if that is what you want to do. Captain, Ward-Prowse or Mount? I think I prefer Mount captaincy to Ward-Prowse. Thanks, Ross. You're welcome, Woz. I appreciate the few super chats that you've given today. Do appreciate it. If you're just watching this and you wonder why I keep saying the word super chat, essentially, if you pay a small amount, you can decide how much you pay. It highlights the message in a bright color. And of course, I'm more likely to answer that because someone's paid money to have their question answered. Most of them aren't a lot, unless you're Frosty, who did a very, very generous donation. But yeah, that's what a super chat is if you're watching this and you're confused. Hey Ross, will you do Bowen to Coutinho for a -4? Yeah, I'd probably do that. You do get the fixture in 30 with Bowen, but yeah. Tierney or Robbo? Probably Robbo. Start Robbo or Son. I'd probably start Son out of those two. Willock or Rafinha. I prefer Willock myself. Is 4 big hitters a good differential for the back end of the season? Yeah, I quite like that. Like you could have, like, for example, James, Rudiger, Trent, and Robertson as a back 4. That could be ideal. Spinner wheel to decide on captaincy was between Salah, Rafinha, Coutinho, James. It landed on Coutinho. I think I'm happy. Yeah, I think he's a great shout. I don't think you can go particularly wrong with that. Yeah, I think that's fine. Right, I think I'm locked in on Lacazette over King. I'm just going to quickly apologize. I'm just going to quickly tweet my team because I know a lot of people on Twitter will probably be looking out for that. So I'll be like 30 seconds whilst I just tweet my team. So Rafinha captain, 39k. Cancelo to James. Gray to Rafinha. Phone to Coutinho for -8. Let me just grab a picture of the team. Sorry, you're seeing the live process of me tweeting. Make sure you go like the tweet once it's out, of course. Yeah, I think I'm going to bench King. If King hauls, King hauls. He hasn't scored since game week 13. He's not been fantastic in recent weeks. I don't think it's an easy double game week, and I do quite fancy Lacazette. So I think I'm going to start Lacazette ahead of King. And I still think I want to have King ahead of Van Dijk on the bench. So I think it's going to be Lacazette, King, Van Dijk in that order. Cool. Tweet. Right, that tweet's gone out. Make sure you like the tweet. Go follow me over on Twitter. I'll drop my Twitter in the chat for those of you that don't follow me on Twitter, because you should be. Sorry, that's going to change the thing really quickly. There you go. I'm back. Bang. There you go. Go follow me over on Twitter. Right, you've got literally like just over 5 minutes. Make sure you're looking at those teams. I will still be answering questions, but just make sure that you're fully locked in. Refresh your page. Make sure that you've got your chips active as well. Chelsea defender as a captain for double game week. Yes, I think so. I think that's fine. I think Rudiger's the safer captaincy because you know he's going to start both games, whereas James, you don't know. We keep saying this. I bet Rudiger's benched for a game now. And we're like, oh my, and James starts both games. Would you play Kane or Broja? I'd play Broja, but I would also play Kane. I'd definitely have both of those. There's got to be someone else you can bench. Mount or Havertz? I prefer Havertz just about. Hi Ross, I love the channel. I'm on free hit. Jimenez or Willock? I'm 50-50. What do you think? I still prefer Jimenez because I think the double game is better and he's on penalties. But Willock is in better like form, I would say, and Newcastle look better than Wolves at the moment. Just trust your gut feeling, mate. Flip a coin. As I always say, flip a coin. As that coin lands, as you uncover that coin, do you want to flip again? Do you want to do like best of 3? If so, you're probably not happy with the result. If after looking at the coin, you're like, yep, I accept that, then you're probably happy with the choice. So flip a coin. If you're unsure on a 50-50 decision, flip a coin, get that done. Livramento to Cody for a hit. Not planning on free hitting 30. I wouldn't do that this week. Livramento's fine for this week. I'd just do Livramento to Cody for game week 30. I also think Livramento's fixture's better than Cody's in 29 as well. So just make sure that tweet went out all good. People on Twitter clearly don't like my team. Someone's just said, might go above you this week. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's classic. If you have a fair following on any sort of social media, then you do have to accept the fact that people can be a little bit rude sometimes. By the way, we just hit 30,000 followers over on Twitter. So if you do follow me on Twitter, that was a big milestone, 30,000 followers. Massive. So massively appreciate if you do follow me over there. 5 minutes till we are locked in. Please lock in your team. You can still ask questions, but get your team locked in and then ask your question. All right. Would you start Foden, Livramento, or King? I would start Livramento out of those 3. Hey Ross, who would you play between Broja, Dalot, Dyer, or Weghorst? Need 2 to play. I would be playing Broja and Dyer, probably. I'm just going to make sure my team's locked in. I'm just going to refresh it there. So Captain Rafinha, Vice Captain James, Lacazette ahead of King. Yeah, I think I'm good to go. Jay says Captain James or Rudiger. Like I said, my risk appetite is that I would probably end up captaining James, but I think this safer, sensible decision is to captain Rudiger because I think there's a reasonable chance James doesn't play the Norwich game. So I think you're looking at probably 1 fixture for James versus 2 for Rudiger this week. It completely depends on your risk appetite. But of course, if James does well in the Burnley game, it could be worth it. And there's always a chance that he plays both. So I would go James, but I think Rudiger's probably the safer, more logical decision. Would you take an extra hit on top of a -8 to do King to Broja? Probably not. I could have made that move, but probably not. I've locked in James. Might as well have some fun. Good man, Clive. Good luck with it. I hope he bangs. I really do. Play King, Tierney, or Martinelli. I'd probably just about play Martinelli, I guess, because I'm playing Saka and Lacazette ahead of King. Saka or Trent. I'd probably start Trent just about. Please help. Ramsey, Coutinho, Dennis, Virgil van Dijk. Pick 2. Probably Coutinho and Ramsey. I'd probably start the 2 Villa boys. The coin landed on Jimenez. Best of luck for the weekend, Ross. Keep up the great work. See you on Twitter in your next video. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that. Hi, Ross. Good luck. I'm bench boost. Tierney, Pope out for Rudiger and Dubravka and Captain Rudiger. Love that King site. Good luck, mate. Really like that team. Bench Salah or Ramsey. I would bench Ramsey ahead of Salah, but I wouldn't bench either of them personally. Why not Coutinho captain? I just fancy Rafinha. Coutinho's a brilliant captaincy. I've brought in Coutinho myself. I think Coutinho's absolutely fine. I've taken a extra -4 to bring in Coutinho, so I clearly think he's going to do well. I just slightly prefer Rafinha for captaincy myself. If Coutinho does well, I'll be delighted. You've got just over a minute left. Please lock in your team now. Get those teams locked in. I'll still answer questions right up to the deadline, but you might not get your question answered in time. Bench Martinelli or Ramsey? I would bench Martinelli. Captain Coutinho or Jimenez? I would captain Coutinho. Mount or Rudiger captain? I would captain Rudiger. I'm just going to do quick fire here for the last minute. Kulusevski and Wood or Mount and Hwang? I'd go Kulusevski and Wood probably. Trent or Saka? I would go probably Trent. I went with Hwang and Adams instead of popular picks. Broja and Jimenez thoughts. I like the Adams pick. I still prefer Jimenez to Hwang, but I do like the Adams pick. James for 8 Nuri -8. Sounds good to me. I think James would be a good option for this week and for future weeks as well. Start Son or Lacazette. I would start Son personally. Hope you see this. Son, Robertson, Trent. Son or Kane for captain. Oh, I'd captain Kane. Oh, you starting any of those for captaincy? Probably captain Kane, to be honest. Broja or Willock? Probably Broja. Captain James or Thiago Silva? Thiago Silva's more likely to start both, but I would captain James, but Thiago Silva's the sensible decision. Punt on Vardy. I don't mind a punt on Vardy yet. Start Cancelo or Gabriel? I would start probably Cancelo, just about. Thanks, Ross. Good luck, mate. Thank you very much. Are we locked? Are we locked? Are we locked? We are locked. Bang. There it is. Cool. We are locked in. I'll stay on for a few minutes. I might stay on till early team news, maybe, for the Leeds Leicester. Maybe we'll see. I have been streaming for 2 hours. I'm quite tired. Good luck, everyone. Yeah, if you want to go, by all means, feel free. We'll just sort of chill and chat now. Maybe talk a bit of strategy, talk a bit of stuff non-FPL. I like to do this after a stream, just like wind down a little bit. If you want to stay behind for this, and by all means do so. Yes, please make sure you're locked. If you're not locked, then it's probably too late, but the website might still be open for a few of you, so make sure you're locked in. Yeah, good luck all. Really good stream we've had today. Really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed the stream. Bench boost and captaincy on James. I love that. You could be in for a huge week, especially with your Willock hat-trick, Clouds. I didn't wildcard and I already regret it. Best of luck. I think I'll need it. Just you make up the ground whenever you wildcard. That's absolutely fine. How's your team looking for blank game week 30? Yeah, we can do that. Good idea. FPL.team is actually down at the moment, so I can't show you what my team's looking like for blank game week 30. I'll maybe do that in a bit. So essentially, the way the team's looking is I've got Ramsdale, Sice, Cody, Saka, Coutinho, Rafinha, Jimenez, Bowen. So I've currently got 8 players for blank game week 30. I'd like to try and bring in Son, or if I can't afford Son, Kulusevski. And I might be looking to bring in either Vardy or maybe a Leicester defender. So I think I'll have 9 or 10 players for blank game week 30. So yeah, looking pretty good for blank game week 30. This is still my plan. This is still the plan for my chip strategy. Do you think 8 players in blank game week 30 is enough with all 3 chips intact, 3 hit bench boost wildcard? There you go, my man. I think 8 players is plenty, and I think 3 hit 33, wildcard 34, bench boost 36 is the best strategy if you still have those 3 chips left. So yeah. To answer your question, I think that's absolutely fine. Thanks, Raptor. You are more than welcome. Thank you for being in the stream, guys. Absolutely love streaming with you all. Such a lovely community. Always asking questions. I can't remember the last time I had to mute someone or ban someone from the chat. It's genuinely such a good atmosphere in this chat, so I appreciate it. If you're one of the 234 watching that hasn't dropped a like on the video, I'll still be going for a few more minutes. Please do drop a like on the video. Also, make sure you subscribe. I assume those of you that stick around at the end are probably subscribers of the channel, but if you're not, why not subscribe? It's free for you to do, and we do drop content every single week on YouTube, so... Aditya says subbed in Cancelo and Saka for King and Dennis in the last minute. So we're all hoping that Watford don't score. Then because we've also got Wolves defenders and Arsenal defenders. So as well as benching King, if King scores, it's going to wipe out either my Arsenal clean sheet or my Wolves clean sheet. Hi, Ross. I'm an economics student and I'm really into behavioral economics. It's really neat to bring in some of these concepts to FPL, so I really love the bits of psychology you bring in. Thank you very much, mate. Without plugging the book too much, if you haven't bought my book yet, do so then, because there's a lot of stuff on behavioral economics in there. I think I'm going to do a video on behavioral economics and FPL soon. So look out for that. I really like trying to bring behavioral economics into FPL. We'll talk a lot about like gambler's fallacy and that sort of stuff, I think. Do you think Amati gets decent minutes moving forward? Potentially, but I think Evans is close to being back. And who else is it? They've have 2 centre-backs coming back very soon. I do think that when everyone's fully fit, there's a chance that he misses out. So we'll just have to wait and see, to be honest. Had the money for Sai/Cody, but went over because I want Kane next week. Was it stupid? Should he play both? There's no Semedo. I don't want to say it's stupid, Marco. It could be fine. The only thing is Johnny is right-footed. So there is a reasonable chance that Johnny could play right wing-back in both or either. We'll have to wait and see. So I think there's a chance that that might not work out. But I don't know is the answer. Imagine in the end, Salah is going to score the most points. I wouldn't be surprised. Salah's definitely going to be above 100% effective ownership as well, which means you're going to lose points for every time Salah scores, which isn't going to be fun. I'll just keep switching graphics that you've got something new to look at rather than just my bald head. There's some lovely graphics for you over there. That's it for Fafana. That was the second centre-back. Thank you, Tech. So Evans and Fafana are back soon. So I would suspect that you might not get that much out of Amati long-term. So, because realistically, if they play a back 5 and everyone's fit, it will be Fafana, Evans, and Soyuncu. If they play a back 4, it would probably be Evans and Soyuncu, maybe Evans and Fafana. I would say Amati's probably likely to be the one to miss out in centre back. So I don't mind Amati, but that's a transfer further down the line for me. If you're looking to like wildcard in 31, you might get away with it. Hey Ross, please go a bit more into behavioral economics. Is that a big factor in the gamble, in your opinion? Just a person interested in the subject. Like I said, I think I'm going to do a Psychology 101 video on behavioral economics in FPL. But if you want, the book covers the book covers so much behavioral economics. I don't want to plug the book too often, but it took me 14 months to write, so I don't mind plugging it a little bit. And yeah, there's a lot of behavioral economics in there. I'll just get up the book just for those of you that have never seen it before. Let me go back to my team for this week. 2 seconds. Hello, I'm back. This is the book. The green screen ruins the green of the book. This font is green, but it actually goes like see-through because of the green screen. But you can see, right? I'm not just going to plug my book for like the next 10 minutes, don't worry, so please stay on the stream. But there is a lot in there. The great thing about the book, in my opinion, is there are also some questionnaires in the book, right? So you can find out what sort of manager you are. So this is what is your chronotype. So should you be making the decisions in the morning or in the evening? Basically, lots of different stuff. But if I just go to the chapters, just to give you an idea. So there is a chapter in the book. Where is it? Is it there? So the chapter 9, decision making in the context of transfers and captaincy, that we talk a lot about behavioral economics in there. And also in delayed gratification. So we talk a lot about temporal discounting. So there's a lot covered in that. But outside of that, you've got conducting your own research, the dark side of social media. You've got rejecting new information, gut feeling, should we trust it, risk-taking FPL. You've got how to cope with negative outcomes in FPL. So definitely consider picking up a copy of the book. Like I say, you get your money's worth. It's $5.99 for the ebook, or it's $8.99 for the hard copy. I like it. I'm proud. I'm super proud. It took 14 months. If you are looking to pick up a copy, the links are in the description, as they always are. They're in the description for every video. Oh, my camera has lagged out shockingly there. I'll just reset the camera 2 seconds. So yeah, the link is in the description for the book. There are 4 questionnaires in the book. So there's questionnaires in the book regarding fear of missing out, your chronotype, whether you should trust your gut feeling or not, etc. So anyway, I'll stop plugging the book to the people that are watching. I do appreciate if you pick up a copy though. And yeah. Hi Ross, hope you're all good, mate. Have you read Thomas Erickson's books, Surrounded by Idiots, Psychopaths, etc.? And if so, would you recommend? I haven't actually. But I have just created a Goodreads account where I've recommended my favorite books. So I will drop some of my favorite books in the chat. Probably like that. Sorry for the really loud typing. They're probably my favorite 4 books. Atomic Habits, Thinking Fast and Slow, Loose for Effect, and Happy Sexy Millionaire. If I were to recommend 4 books, most of them cover psychological aspects, specifically Atomic Habits, Thinking Fast and Slow, and Lucifer Effect. But if you're looking for 4 books hand recommended from Mr. Raptor, then I would recommend those 4 books. But yeah, if you do want to pick up a copy of my book, links are in the description. And I appreciate all the kind, I've just seen loads of kind words. Craig said he's a big FOMO from the questionnaire. Yep, you're not alone in that. So I know a lot of people have read the book. I do appreciate that very much. If you're in the chat, by the way, we're on 490 likes. If we could get an extra 10 likes, we would hit 500 likes, which is absolutely massive for a live stream for my channel. 500 likes is big. For those of you that missed the start of the stream, by the way, we did hit 1,000 concurrent viewers at one point. So we had 1,000 people live in the chat, which is absolutely massive for me. It only drops below 1,000 because obviously all the other big YouTubers started streaming. But oh, you can see my green screen there. You can see the behind the scenes of a green screen. There you go. All right, guys. So yes, we hit 500 likes. Good job. Thank you very much, everyone. I think I'm going to stop it there because I've been streaming for over 2 hours now. But I just do really want to say I appreciate you all so much. You're all such a kind community. You ask such good questions, insightful questions in the chat. I appreciate the comments in the chat. I appreciate you liking the video. I appreciate you subscribing, buying a copy of my book. Whatever you do, just know that I really am very grateful for all of you. And I think this is a top-class community. 2 massive things to hit. 500 likes is massive, and 1,000 concurrent viewers is massive. So big day for Raptor on this YouTube channel, but I massively appreciate it. I wish you the best of luck for Game Week 28. Hope you get a massive green arrow. We'll be back, of course, for Game Week 29, where we'll be talking things such as Bench Boost 29. I'll have my team selection video, and I'll also have some sort of Game Week preview video as well. So, yeah, that's it. Massively appreciated. I'll be over on Twitter and in the Discord community as well, chatting with you guys. But massively appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.